You're listening to The Starting Block on TAVshow.com.
The following program is recommended for mature individuals and may contain material unsuitable for morons, cretins, and dishwipes. If you are a moron or a member of the PTL Club, please turn off your radio, because we don't need any more stupid, narrow-minded, pencil-neck geeks who wouldn't know the First Amendment if it came up and bit them on the butt. Thank you.
Okie dokie, roll 'em!
Nothing to rearrange. Sometimes you just get a feeling like you need some kind of change. No matter.
Hey, welcome to Starting Block for another week. Big show as always. We got Beauty Word of the Week. We got Story Times. We got Email Dick Moves. We got Racist Coffee, Woke Beer, Pick of the Children, and most importantly, the return of the Mitchell Johnson Award, ladies and gentlemen. All that much more here on the block. Greeno here from the Starting Block. On behalf of the block, we just wanted to let you all know that we're all in this together. Well, except if you have coronavirus, then stay the fuck away. But in every other situation, we're in it together. To all of you on the front lines, those of you turning a footstool, a wok, and a pitchfork into a home gym, those of you who have given your housemates a mental breakdown because you decided lockdown was a great time to learn the keyboard and the only thing you can play after 8 weeks is chopsticks over and over and over again. And those of you who are homeschooling and are now understanding the question you used to harass your maths teacher with of, when the fuck are we ever going to need to know this in the real world, is coming back to bite you on the ass. Just remember, like a 1990s Australian sitcom, we're all in this together. The days may be long, but in times like this, you can rest assured we will be here to waste an hour of your week, Friday nights Australian time, at dlive.tv/The Starting Block. So take care, social distance, whack on a mask, and subscribe to our show on iTunes. It may not cure coronavirus, but it sure will help us with our rankings. And isn't that really the most important thing right now?
Public Radio's loss is TAVshow.com's game. You're listening to The Starting Block.
Hey, welcome to Starting Block for another week. You've got myself Greeno and I'm joined by a man wondering why Elon didn't play for his blue team. My co-captain Damo, how are we, sir?
Very good, Greeno. Good evening to you, boys, girls, listenership around the world, blockheads, millions, in their fucking millions, and surrounded by their millions of loved ones and friends and family. Welcome aboard. It's good to have you. Yeah, it's been a big week. Elon just gets more and more popular, doesn't he, as the weeks roll on, old Elon. The ironic thing for me is, right, I like Elon Musk now far more than I ever have. Like, I've always been an Elon Musk skeptic, put it that way, because in my opinion, and look, and it's been a roller coaster of Elon Musk, and here's why. Like, 10 years ago, I remember having arguments with people who were like, the people who hate Elon Musk today, right? Like, so we're talking kind of lefty people mostly, you know, what he's doing to Twitter and stuff. They don't like him anymore. But I remember having arguments with people like 10 years ago who are very much of that persuasion, who hate him now, who would say to me, oh, no, he's brilliant. And I'd be like, no, I don't like him because he's taking government money to build like some fucking solar farm battery or something in the middle of the desert. It's not going to work. But he's getting like, he gets most of his money through government contracts, right? And the people would be like, oh, you don't understand. He fucking loves the environment. Fuck you. And it's these same people now. I swear to God, it's these same people now who are like, oh, he's a fucking fascist, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, hang on. See, now I'm getting lumped into the crowd that like, oh, you're an Elon fanboy. You're sucking his dick. And it's like, no, I just like the fact that he's pissing you off on Twitter. That's, so I like him far more now. You know why? Because he's not taking government money, Australian government money, to propose like Simpsons monorails type fucking projects and just, you know, make off into the sunset with it. He's not doing that now. So that's, we got no beef.
Distracting him from like pissing it out and taking our money.
Yes.
The pissy little kind of like trolling thing that he's doing now. Well done.
Yeah,
right.
right.
It cost him $7 billion. That's good.
And isn't that so funny? Like, so back then I was outraged at the billions of dollars of government money he was taking around the world, right? That was my outrage. Like,
that's your problem. Yeah.
Yeah. Who the fuck is this guy to just march in and get all these government contracts? Fuck him, you know? Because you know me, when it comes to government spending, I am the Greeno version of government spending. I don't accept the government spending 1 cent more than it absolutely must necessarily have to, you know. So
a lot of wasted cash, yes.
Yeah, and they spent years and years signing checks and handing it over to him, like in America, Europe, Australia, everywhere. This guy fucking got paid everywhere he went. You know, more. It was like John Farnham, Greeno, the Rolling Stones. Every city he went to, he made bank.
He's back.
Yeah, he's back again. And and now these days, oh, he's evil, and it's like, I can't win with people, you know. You didn't care when he was doing that, but now you care because he accurately labels government-funded media on Twitter, you know. Fucking good for you.
Nice, Gary!
And it just goes to show you where people's priorities are, doesn't it?
I just love the fact that someone who has billions of dollars in the bank has nothing better to do than just do really petty, annoying shit on the internet.
That's what Trump was doing too. He had billions in the bank.
That I'd be amused by to like amuse my own little mind, if you know what I mean. So today, obviously, the blue ticks disappeared.
Yep.
Except if you fork over the coin.
Of course.
But what he did is he left blue ticks on people he didn't like. So it looked like they paid for it when they didn't.
Nice.
So then when those people were like, hey, fucking like example, LeBron. Yeah. LeBron's like, I didn't fucking pay for this. No. And Elon's like, no, I paid for that one for you myself.
That's gold. That is gold.
The highest level of pettiness from a billionaire who's got too much spare time on his hands. I'm going to fuck with LeBron today. Isn't going to be very good. You want to be a critic? Fuck you. Here you go. Here's a blue tick so everyone thinks you paid you $8. So totally. People bombarding him going, how dare you pay $8?
And look, I want to propose something to you, Greeno, and not just you, but the blockheads as well. I want you to think very carefully. Like next time you want to complain about like a Donald Trump or an Elon Musk or like trolling people or whatever they're doing, I want you to ask yourself this question. Do I want to live in a world without flamboyant billionaires? Because I put it to you that I like the fact that there are flamboyant billionaires out in the world who just have the kind of money where they can do whatever they want and they exercise that, you know, that freedom.
As you like to refer to it as, fuck you money.
Fuck you money.
Nice, Gary!
Now, wouldn't you hate a world where everyone who, you know, earns a bit of money just like wears a suit and says the same media programmed fucking lines over and over? That sounds like dystopian hell to me.
Yeah.
I root for the guy who, like, you know, I don't care really how much money people have, but if you have a lot of money and you've got fuck you money, because I've always thought, like, if I won the lotto, what would I do? And I feel like I've been saying this for years. You'll remember our conversations at the pool hall, Greeno. Mm-hmm. If I had fuck you money, I think I would take very mundane jobs. You know, I would apply. I wouldn't tell them that I had, and when I got bored of it, I'd just go, okay, you know what? I'm out of here. Thanks anyway, guys. It's been fun. but I'll move on.
Where did the demo go?
I'll get a job.
Disappear one day.
Yeah, I'll get a job doing something very, routine factory line kind of stuff. And then when I get bored of it, because you got to have a reason to get up in the morning,
Yeah, exactly. There's only so much fun fuck you money can buy.
That's right. Yeah, and then you've got to create your own fun, and that'll be, reconnecting with your peasant roots, Greeno, of course. So that'll be part of it. But it's good. It's flamboyant billionaires.
I like where your head's at. I like where your head's at with that, because I think I'd do something similar.
Yeah.
But it'd be more just to disrupt the system a little bit.
Yeah, just fuck shit up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd find a factory that I feel like is just, a bit too big for their boots, and go in there and just disrupt everything.
Now, it's worth pointing out that Greeno, I think, is the first person in recorded history to have a vendetta against a factory. The factory is too big for its boots.
Yeah, we're going to cut them down to size.
It's those guys always kept pushing in line at the pie shop at the end of the road in the industrial estate.
We'll find a way.
Find
a way. Yeah,
it's a list, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, I've got a big list.
Big list.
I'm ready to go as soon as that big fat check comes in.
Yes.
Look out.
Yeah.
Damo, if I can, a bit of hot content off the press, if we can.
Content, yeah.
Yeah. So as I was setting up this show, saw a little email pop up.
Okay.
And I'm like, I wonder what this is. Obviously a little bit of spam, but nonetheless. So the daughter over the school holidays is like, oh, look, I want to buy something with some of the money I've been given over the years. Okay. And for like the entire time I've been like, look, you get plenty of stuff off everyone. Don't waste your coin. Like, put that aside and let everyone buy shit for you instead.
Okay.
But she's like, no, Dad, I want a watch. Like, I want like a smart watch or a fitness watch, those kind of things.
Right.
So I'm like, look, you've got the money there and it's a while to your birthday. So if you want to spend a bit of money on that, you can. So we ordered a watch online yesterday.
Yep.
And straight away, obviously, you get the emails that are coming through.
Right. Like, now, to reassure you that, no, you haven't just thrown money into like some Eastern European call center or, an Indian underground mafia operation. You haven't done any of that. Like, it's a legit thing. You are getting a watch at some point.
No, not so much that. More the, hey, you bought some stuff from us. Would you like to buy something else?
Oh, yeah. Not interested, of course.
So this one pops up. And so I want to give a dick move to Kogan.com, because you need to fix your dick.
Hang on. Before you even, oh my God, you should have spoken to me first, Greeno. I've been telling you for years, I am your guardian angel in some of the, especially when it comes to people trying to rip you off and get in your fucking head. Now, I'm here to tell you, Kogan is like the worst. Remember when we didn't have aircon in the studio and it was like fucking 40 degrees in here, melting in the studio, right? I stupidly was like, I wonder if I can get like a little air conditioner that will just like a little fan thing just for the desk and that'll do. And there was like Kogan.com. There's this great little fan, little air conditioner thing where, you just sit it on the desk and it's all fine and good. And I get it and it's great. Yeah. And then the fucking emails start coming and it's like 10 a day. But,
they're keen.
Oh, and they're not only keen, they're crafty as well, because you can flag the shit out of Kogan emails and they continue to arrive in your inbox and you have no idea how they got there. And then if you don't respond to the emails, Greeno, the text messages start coming as well.
So here's the thing.
What?
I never actually give my mobile number
No,
anymore.
yes, you definitely shouldn't. Because
so what
I
do is I give my work number.
Oh, nice, Gary.
Nice, Gary.
So it just gets spam flagged instantly.
So it gets spam flagged and never actually gets through.
That's a great, you know what? This is fantastic. I don't know anything about work. You don't know anything about Kogan. Together we fixed it.
Between us, we fixed it. Yeah. However, I just want to give a bit of a dick move in Kogan and a bit of advice if I can. Yeah. You need to fix your algorithm, right? So my daughter bought a smartwatch. Yet here's what it says. Thanks for your recent purchase. To celebrate, we've hand-fixed some products based on your purchase of what you might like.
So they're drawing a lot of conclusions from this one purchase of one smartwatch.
Which, in my head, I saw that and I'm like, hey, I wonder what else they got. I might be able to get myself a good deal.
Here's a 42-inch LED TV that we thought you might like.
I'm thinking technology, right? I'm thinking maybe there's a tablet, maybe there's a TV, maybe there's
a little desk air conditioner that, Damo didn't want.
Yeah, 100%. No. Here's their suggestions. 8-pack of replacement toothbrush heads.
Nice, Gary.
4XL rotary air fryer. What?
Really? 4 air fryers.
4XL. So it's a big one. It's a big boy.
Okay.
Premium 15-in-1 steam mop.
Steam mop.
Out of the purchase of a kid's fucking smartwatch.
Was it
they've
pink? Now,
gone-
Greeno, was the smartwatch pink?
The smartwatch is red, sir.
Red. Okay, because I was going to say very sexist of Kogan, you know. Not that one.
Chauvinist and sexist and misogynist.
Toothbrushes and mops.
Yeah, paintbrushes, mops. It sounds like you're trying to turn my little girl who wants a smartwatch into a fucking homemaker here by the sounds of it.
Exactly. Into
bigoted.
Wilma Flintstone.
Yes, Wilma Flintstone.
I was just trying to think
I
of
would
it.
have also have accepted Marge Simpson, I think, who's like the quintessential perfect housewife.
That'll work, yeah, exactly. So a bit of a dick move there to the Kogan for obviously getting the algorithm wrong. We like to do muted word of the week if we can on this show. So something happened to ruin my timeline, and it wasn't about the blue ticks. This week had to mute the words "Love is blind."
Love is blind. Okay, I must already have love muted because I never saw it.
Never saw it.
No.
So apparently, Love is Blind is this like a reality show similar to Maths. Damo, Married at First Sight.
Right. So someone's
they
ripped
do-
off Married at First Sight. And,
I think, I think it's a similar thing. So what they do is it's kind of like they never meet beforehand, but they've got to, they're in a relationship
blindfolds. Yeah.
and get engaged without ever meeting before.
Is it
So it's
meeting
like an online thing.
or do they sit there at the dates and wear blindfolds?
No, I think it's like an online thing, perhaps.
I seem to recall a show where people were like sitting at a dinner table together and they were wearing blindfolds.
It could be that show. I never bothered to look into it.
Okay.
However, they were doing a live reunion throughout the course of the week, and apparently shit went askew,
Reunion.
which meant it was fucking trending its tits off. So every third tweet, when I was trying to keep up to date, would say NBA playoffs or what was going on in the baseball. Once again, sport, 80 movies, tit. That's all I want to see. They threw Love is Blind in there. Had to mute it.
Can I just add too? No one's happier about the expected downfall of BuzzFeed more than I, because BuzzFeed is largely responsible for this clickbait culture that we have in the first place. I don't know.
BuzzFeed's still around, is it?
It's about to not be. It's going broke very shortly. So
Excellent.
Nice Gary.
Nice, Gary.
So they are one of the pioneers. Like that's the reason that they got so famous so fast is because at the beginning of social media, Twitter, Instagram and stuff, they were the social media news site basically for a while, and then they've just been swamped out because they do a terrible job and have done for a long time. But out they go and they're finished. But so that kind of clickbaity shit, at least it's never going to go away now because it's like I watched something earlier, Greeno, about Kellogg's cornflakes, the start of that and how ruthless that was. It was do you know anything about that story?
No,
I like stories about pinatas.
Kind of intrigued by the fact that you have
it's
to
a
be
great
ruthless.
story. Yeah,
Like a real serial killer. No pun intended. Well, pun definitely intended there.
No, okay. So it was like in the 1800s, right? There was this doctor. I forget his first name, but his name was Dr. Kellogg. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He ran a sanitarium, which was kind of like a private hospital back in the day. So he was doing quite well for himself. Mm-hmm. And what he would do is he would feed the patients who were back then, a lot of their health problems were stomach related because they were just eating like off food and rancid meat and stuff because there was no refrigeration, right?
Okay.
So a lot of their issues were stomach related. So what he would do, they would come to his sanitarium, which would later become known as a hospital kind of situation. Mm-hmm. And he would feed them every morning this kind of granola with milk poured over it, right? This Dr. Kellogg.
Now known as cornflakes. And it was, part of, a kind of health routine. Now, the person who actually oversaw the production of the cornflakes was his younger brother, right? Will Kellogg. Now, he wasn't a brilliant doctor. His parents refused to send him to like a fancy school because he was nearsighted and he couldn't see anything and they thought he was an idiot. What a waste of money then.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been a waste of money. So they sent the older brother off to medical school and he owns the hospital. The younger brother works kind of like taking inventory and stuff and he oversees the production of this like kind of crunchy granola with milk poured over it.
Yeah.
Now, one of the patients staying at this fucking hospital, right, was a guy who was in there because he'd run so many businesses and failed, he had a nervous breakdown. And he ends up in this fucking sanitarium. And he, because he can't afford to pay the bill for being in there, he works like in the kitchen area making this breakfast thing. At the time, there was no such thing as breakfast, right?
Yeah.
You would just eat what was left over from the day before. So no one
Well, it was breakfast. It was just there was no particular meals that fit the rules of breakfast. Is that right?
Yeah, there was no concept of like a meal
Like
that
we
was
eat
suited
cereal, we
for
eat toast,
just
we eat scrambled eggs, etc.
Yeah, exactly. Breakfast was just like whatever you had left. It was
Essentially
nothing special.
the all-day breakfast that now exists was just food.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this guy who's a patient there, his name's like CW Post, and he's working there. Now, he works in the kitchen because he can't afford to pay the bills. He's so broke, a failed businessman. He leaves this hospital. He takes like a bag of the product with him because the younger brother is trying to convince the doctor brother that they should sell this stuff because it's really good and it's good for people and, you know, it's helping their digestive systems and we need to sell it. And the older brother's like, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. You didn't go to medical school. You don't know any of you don't know any of this
You
shit.
can't even fucking see. You can't even see the box.
That's
what are you
right.
talking about?
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, the guy who's staying at the hospital takes the idea, steals the idea, writes down the recipe. He goes off and he starts his own company called Grape Nuts. All right.
Okay.
Grape Nuts, and he starts a cereal and it starts kicking off. Now, the brother comes up to the older brother with the fucking product and says, look at what people are doing now. They're stealing our idea.
Mate, Grape Nuts over here.
That's right.
It's fucking stealing our product.
Grape Nuts has got the fucking show rolling and he's making bank over there, you know?
Oh, we've just got our title for next week's show. Grape Nuts.
Grape Nuts. Now, the older brother still won't be in it, Greeno. He's not fucking interested, and he continues to the younger brother, you're an idiot, you don't know what you're talking about. This is about making people healthy. We can't have it for profit, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, the older brother's sanitarium, the hospital, it burns to the ground. Now, I'm unsure whether or not the brother did it. I'm unsure whether or not he lit the fire.
Oh, he definitely lit the fire. I'm smelling a fire bake, I can tell you.
Because his brother wouldn't let him enter the corn, like the cereal market, the breakfast market, that this patient was stealing their idea. Now, it burns down, and he comes up to the brother and he gives him a $35,000 check, which back then would have been like hundreds of thousands of dollars, okay? Like a fortune, yeah? And he hands him this check and he says, I'm buying out the breakfast recipe that we feed to the patients. I'm buying it out from you so you can rebuild the hospital, which is now a pile of ash. Okay.
There you go.
Right. So he takes it, he goes off, he starts his own company. It goes gangbusters, but Grape Nuts, now the guy who runs Grape Nuts, he starts freaking out because Kellogg's is now out there. And because they've got this doctor name associated with it, it starts going off its tits, Greeno. They fly off the shelves.
It's like, hang on. Yeah, it's got a bit more credibility. It's got a fucking blue check mark, Damo.
That's right. One morning when he was in the hospital, he accidentally left out some of the ingredients for the Kellogg's, right? And they accidentally kind of pressed it and turned it into the flake. Now, the Grape Nut guy was still doing like chunks of granola, you know, with
he was
milk
doing big granola. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Now, the cornflakes guy, they actually accidentally pressed one of the corn flakes and turned it into a flake and then ate it. And they were like, oh my God, this is fucking amazing.
It's way better.
So he invents this machine, this press, this cornflake press that has water running through it, right? The brother, the younger brother, after he's bought out the older brother, he invents this fucking machine. This is what people were like back in the day. We complain about fucking Twitter now. You know what I mean? This is what people were doing back in the day. He invents his own pressing machine that has water running through it so it stops the dough from sticking. It's the first one that was ever of its kind, Greeno.
Wow,
the fucking cornflakes guy. Now, Now, the patient at the hospital who's running the rival company, the Grape Nut guy.
Grape Nuts, yeah.
He gets wind of this. Do you know what he does? He says he goes out and he buys the company that makes those machines.
Makes the water. That's what I do.
He buys the whole company. And he says, we're not selling another one of these. They all belong to me. All of the machines belong to me now. There's nothing you can do. Then the Kellogg's Brothers factory burns to the ground, Greeno.
Nice, Gary!
Maybe industrial sabotage.
These factories are insured, right?
No, absolutely. There was no insurance. If you lost what you had, you lost it. It was over.
You lost it. It was done.
Gone.
Okay.
Yeah. So his factory burns to the ground. Now, what he does, he goes to the company who made his press, and the company says, I'm sorry, we can't do anything. We've been bought out and we're forbidden from selling to anyone now. Like, that's the new boss's rules. And he says, but I'm not a new customer. I'm an existing customer.
Yeah.
And they say to him, well, so what are you saying? And he says, well, I think I should pay you to come out and repair my my press because I already own it. Like, I'm not
You already
buying
own it. Yeah.
That's right.
This is an existing repair.
That's it.
Because back in the day, everything lasted 400 years.
That's right.
So no one was just buying a new press. It was always, we'll get the company out to come fix it.
That's right. And the company's not breaking the laws of their new ownership because they're not selling to anybody.
They're not selling anyone. They're repairing an existing press.
And he gets them to come out. And
dude's a genius.
Well, they don't only repair the existing, right? They repair the existing and then upgrade it, and it turns it into a mass production facility. They went from producing 4,000 cases of cornflakes a day to 120,000 cases of cornflakes a day. Now, go back to the grape nut guy. Now, the grape nut guy is starting to freak out, so much so, Greeno, that he marches himself into the bedroom of his mansion, puts a rifle under his chin and blows his own fucking head off.
Grape nuts couldn't handle the pressure. Wow.
Grape nut guy blows his fucking head off because of the stress and the pain and all the rest associated with it. Now, remember, this is like 100 years ago. This is the 1800s. It's a fascinating story. Now, the grape nut guy leaves his company, this is unheard of back then. He leaves his company to his 26-year-old daughter who takes over now.
Okay.
And the fortune is, get this, back in the equivalent money, $550 million fortune.
Wow.
And this huge company. Now, she starts diversifying their interests because she takes over, and straight away she's like, we need to get just out of the strictly breakfast game and just take the idea of pre-packaged foods next level and do it for everything, right?
Okay.
Now, she goes out and she starts investing in all these companies who do kind of some kind of pre-packaged food. She stumbles across this company that freezes their fish and their vegetables, and it's run by someone I think named Clarence Birdseye or something, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Right? And she buys this Birdseye company for like $300 million equivalent, right? Turns it into a company called General Foods, and it becomes like the biggest...
One of the biggest food industries.
It eventually becomes Kraft, and it's worth like $50 billion.
Yeah, wow.
There you go. So the daughter of the crazy guy who blew his head off, who was in the sanitarium, who stole the idea from Kellogg, right? She ends up winning the game.
Yeah.
But the Kellogg's company is still worth like $20 billion. But they
that's not worth chump change. That's still got a fair bit of
huge. But they just stayed in breakfast cereal. That was their thing, you know?
Yeah.
So there you go. There's a little story.
I like stories about pinatas.
That's a story time from 1854.
Yeah. Isn't that fascinating?
1878 was when cornflakes were invented. There you go. And apparently it was invented as an anti-masturbatory tool.
There you go. Really?
Yeah. There you go. They thought the plain food would stop people masturbating.
See, the thing I saw was like, well, the crazy doctor, his idea was, well, everyone's eating rotten meat, so we need to give them something else. And so it was grain and,
maize.
Peanut grain, maize.
Yeah, toasted maize, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, absolutely fascinating. I love history like that because no one's inventing anything anymore. And again, this takes you right back to the point, Greeno. I'm glad that flamboyant billionaires exist in the world. You know what I mean? Because that's as close as we're going to get to those kinds of pioneering efforts of a bygone era.
Can I raise this as a point/question, Damo?
Please, yeah.
How is this? Because we've talked 1,000 times on this show about how Hollywood is bereft of ideas. There's just reboot. How has that story not been made into a film?
That's a good question. It really, because I guess they just feel like they can't sell the cornflake story.
How can you not sell that? There's got to be everything. You've got fucking houses burning down. You've got ingenuity. You've got fucking there's a lot going on there. You've got multiple generations of company dominance. That's a fucking great story. I like it.
I'll give you a very quick one in 60 seconds.
I like stories about pinatas.
It won't be like the last one. one. But I've often thought that they should do a movie. The guy's name is something like Ignaz Himmelweis. And he was a doctor back in the day, again, maybe 100 years ago or whatever. And back then when women would give birth, half of them would die because it was such a violent experience for the body. But most of the deaths were due to infection because back then they didn't know what germs were. They didn't have microscopes kind of thing. So they didn't know what germs were. And they would just go from like one surgery to the next to the pregnancy, and they wouldn't wash their hands or anything. And this guy, this Ignaz Himmelweis, he was a doctor at the time, and he came out to like the medical community and said, what you need to do is start washing your hands because you're transferring. Now, imagine you heard this for the first time, what your reaction would be, right? Yeah. Imagine what the first person who said the world is a globe, imagine the reaction that they got, right? If there's an accepted truth. Now, this doctor guy, he came out and said, no, I've discovered this horrific thing. We need to wash our hands and have good hygiene because there are microscopic living organisms and they attach themselves to our hands and they transfer from one person to the next. They're called germs, and that's what makes people sick fundamentally. And he was laughed out of the profession. He was mocked and tortured. He ended up dying in an insane asylum thinking that because they all tried to convince him that he was crazy.
He was crazy, yeah.
And it was only posthumously, like 50 years after his death, that the medical community came out and admitted, holy shit, he was right all along.
Turned this poor bastard into crazy person for no reason.
They drove him to death in the crazy house, and they fed him drugs and said to him, you are crazy for thinking do you think there's living things on your hands right now, Ignaz? No, I swear I don't. I'm getting better. They don't exist. But you could imagine he was probably the world's first germaphobe because he discovered germs.
Germs. And look, the only upside to that entire story, though, is the fact he didn't die of infection.
Didn't die of infection. He just went crazy trying to tell the truth to people. And that's a good lesson to take with you, kids, if you're listening out there. Don't ever try to tell the truth to anyone because you'll be the one that's told that you're crazy for doing it.
Big smacks.
Yes. Yeah. Just go along with the lies that everyone else seems to prefer. And you'll
easier that way. Yeah. A lot easier. Yeah. Don't rock the boat.
Don't rock the boat. Good lesson for the kids.
Yeah.
I like stories about pinatas.
We've been off for the Easter break and whatnot over the last couple of weeks. Now, in that time, a couple of things have happened. Right. Now, number one is during the Easter period, we try and be a bit more social than I like to be. Now, we told a story time about 2 years ago about Christmas, and my wife decided it's a good idea to go and, say hi to the neighbors and give them cards. Next thing we know, we're fucking like taking care of someone's house for a week and, the people are knocking on our doors. It's no good.
Got to pay it forward, Greeno.
Now, we did not learn our lesson, and by we, I mean my wife. And,
that was just a full absolving of any responsibility whatsoever.
Well,
just palmed it all off on her, didn't you?
So, my general rule, man, I want to stay inside my cave. I just want to be left alone. Leave me alone. All good. But she's like, we'll get some eggs and we'll drop them off to the neighbors. And I'm like, okay, I'll get some eggs. That's fine. So we got the eggs. Yeah. Now, she dropped them off to the neighbors. Now, thankfully, one neighbor on the other side, they'd gone away on holidays. We just left at the door. That's all good. Neighbor on the opposite side of that, she's a very lovely elderly lady.
Yep.
Doesn't want to engage too much because she's got dementia. So she was just like, thanks for dropping it off. Nice to see you, blah, 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 how the kids, et cetera, et cetera. Yep. Excellent. Now, what it ended up extending to the house up where they've got a whole bunch of kids. Now, they brought some eggs down to our kids, so we feel we had to, repay the favor. Yep. So we, dropped some eggs off to them. Now,
is this a thing that I can expect? I didn't know community egg sharing was a thing.
There's a community. If someone
that
gives
was
you an
never
egg,
a thing. I'm sorry, I need to interrupt the story.
I like stories about pinatas.
Because when I was a kid, I only remember Easter mornings when whatever morning it was they did the egg hunt. I don't even remember which one it was. Was it Saturday that they would do the Easter egg hunt?
We never did one in the street because once again we knew our role. Yeah. Fucking stay in your house. Do not interrupt other people's Easter.
It was the house was my playground to look around for eggs and stuff and find
exactly.
them. I wasn't inviting anyone else. Hang on, these are my eggs. It's up to me to find them. Go find your own eggs, on your turf kind of thing. That was So what now? You got to do fucking community eggs?
No.
or something?
It's not a community egg hunt. What I'm saying is they brought down some eggs as like an Easter gift for my kids. So I'm like, well, hang
are
on,
we doing this now?
They got our kids some eggs, so we're going to give their kids some eggs, which is fine, and that's all good. I'm like,
It's Christmas. It's just Christmas card pressure overall.
It is. It's very much Christmas
again.
card pressure, which is fine. It's all good. Now, what happened is I said to the wife, I'm like, you know me, I don't want to fucking chat to people. I bought the eggs. If you and the kids want to take them up, go nuts. So they went up. They were there an hour.
Yeah.
So it turns out they got a tour of the house.
Oh, no.
They're chit-chatting. They found out their backstory. And
guess what? Now it's going to be Christmas and fucking New Year's.
So they come back. They're very lovely. And they are. They're super lovely. They're
Doesn't
very,
matter. It's not the point.
Nice people.
Yeah.
And that is fine. So that's the Friday, Thursday. I think it was the Thursday.
Yep.
So that was the Saturday. Sorry, Saturday. So then the Monday rolls around because we're out Sunday doing family stuff. We get a Monday knock on the door.
Yep.
It's one of the kids from up the road.
Yeah.
Oh, can the kids come up and play?
Okay.
And my wife is like, oh, well, I've got to go to work.
Oh, palming it off.
What were you going to do today? I'm like, well, my plan was to sit around, watch footy, have a couple of beers, but she's
I
like,
guess I have
kids,
to go on a play date now.
The kids want to go up the road and like play. And I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. They'll be up there fucking 30 minutes. It'll be fine. They'll get bored.
But you don't have to be there though, do you? For that,
well,
because
I
remember like always being in other people's yards and houses, and my parents were never there. You know,
Yeah,
they weren't hanging around. It was like, all right, go on, off you go. You know, see you later, and be back before the street lights come on was the general rule.
Different day and age, I guess. Because I was like, well, I'm not fucking letting the kids out of my sight because I don't know these people. So
I guess.
So
if you don't know them, if it's a random and if there's a random and knock on your door, it's like, can your kids come over?
If I can't tell you the name of the parent or the kids they're playing with,
no,
I'm probably not going to leave the kids there by themselves. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I was like, all right, yeah, I'm going to go to work. So the kids want to play for a bit. I'm like, all right. So I wander on up there, assuming I had a 30-minute window. So I rock up and then I meet the dad and I'm like, hey, mate, how you doing? He's like, how you doing? We exchanged names because we never met before.
Was he younger than you or older than you?
Same age, so which was fine. He was trying to clean out his garage. His wife had tasked him with cleaning out the garage for the day.
You weren't getting roped into that on the first
No,
meeting.
Not at all. So I'm like, oh, hey, mate, like the kids want to come up and play. Like, do you mind if I just kind of loiter around, like, obviously while they're playing? Because I'm not going to just dump my kids off on people I don't know. And like, yeah, no drama. So we were chit-chatting. 3.5 hours later of me creating small talk with someone I've never met. I had to pull the pin. I'm like, kiddos, like I'm out of small talk. Like I've got nothing left. There is literally no, and this poor guy, he's in there, he's trying to clean out his garage, but he's like, well, the kids are all playing at the front with his kids have come down to my joint to then ask.
Yeah, that's right. Like, well, have sympathy for that guy because you've actually fucked his day by being there too.
Exactly.
Fuck
100%.
Yeah.
So
can't we just have an arrangement like, okay, let's have the kids play halfway between our two houses and we'll both try to keep an eye on it during the ad breaks of the footy, okay?
Yeah. And at one point I had to kind of like stop keeping a full eye because I'm like, I got to do a couple of things. Within the 5 minutes I kept my eye off. The daughter comes home with fucking a scratch straight across her face. I'm like, what the fuck happened? She's like, oh, the 4-year-old fucking scratched me as I was coming out of the trampoline. I'm like, I was gone 2 minutes, mate. I went to take a piss. What the fuck?
God.
The small talk cycle.
See, for people listening, you're probably going to laugh and think this is a great story. For me, as like a new father, less than a year, I've been in the fatherhood ranks. This is horrifying to me.
It's scary.
This is a scary story. I don't like this story at all. But other people out there are laughing their tits off right now, listening to this.
Here's what happened. I ran out of small talk to talk with the dad at one point.
Yeah.
Now they've got a 12, 13-year-old son. Yeah. And I found out he liked Formula One. So at one point I had to pivot.
Scary. No,
And,
to the son. You're talking to the
I had
kid
to
there.
pivot to the 12-year-old out the front because I'm like, bro, I've got nothing left to talk to the adult about
And
because
audience,
I've covered
audience, I
everyone.
want you to consider the fact now that this guy is now you're listening to the story from Greeno's perspective. Now consider the other guy here. Here's this guy. He's cleaning out his garage because his wife's making him do it. He doesn't want to fucking do it. Now, on his day off, now he's like, I've got a couple of hours. I'll get this done before the footage starts. Then this fucking random arsehole from down the road shows up that you've never met before. And it's like, do you mind if I stand here for a few hours while our kids play and talk?
No, 20 minutes was my plan.
I know that was your plan, but I'm getting like to the end of it. Like now he's like, I've been entertaining this prick now for 3 hours. He's thinking the same thing you're thinking, right? And then on top of it, at the end of it, Greeno, it's just fucking unrelenting, this poor man. You need to consider his feelings out there. Holy shit, mate.
No, he was happy though. As soon as I pivoted the convo, he was like, I can actually get some fucking work done.
Yeah, so he's thinking, here's this random asshole from down the road who's been taking 3 hours of my time, and now he's trying to talk to my son.
No,
my 12-year-old son.
No, we talk about. So we talked a bit of F1.
See, the ironic twist is we started the story thinking that the other people were potential child abusers, and then you're the one who's up there trying to chat up his 12-year-old son. No, so you like Formula One, do you?
So that's Easter Monday. That's Easter Monday. Story. Okay, we're all good on Easter Monday.
Yeah.
It's Tuesday. Thankfully, back at work.
Thankfully, back at work.
Knock on the door.
Never said that before.
Knock on the door. Get the kids coming out to play. Sorry, Daddy's going to work today.
Sorry, you're on your own. Go play in the street. I don't give a fuck. See you later.
See you later.
Scratch on your face. Hey, cut your head off out there. Who cares? I've got emails I've got mundane emails to answer. I'm sorry.
That's it. Busy.
Takes priority.
That's story time. That's Easter.
I like stories about pinatas.
Well done.
Should we take a break?
Do you want to take a break, or do you just want to keep going? I don't mind.
We've been going almost an hour.
All right, so you want to take a little breather.
Let's take a little breather and we'll come back and we'll punch out the final hour.
Grab yourself a beverage out there, relax, light up a cigarette if you have to. See you soon.
See you soon.
Do you like your novelty comedy songs organic? Handmade with painstaking care, put into every note? Well, look no further than Irrational Times. Using only the finest instruments to create an experience that your ears will thank you for later, Irrational Times attempts to elevate the whimsy to a desirable level. New songs and sketches every week, so check it out.
There's a place that we can go to watch old things. All the warm, fuzzy member berries it brings. It's a special little spot tucked away on D-Live. Enjoy the joy of Pessy. Campy old movies and old cartoons. We hope to see you over there very soon. It's our special little spot tucked away on D-Live. Enjoy the joy of Pessy. When we were kids and there wasn't any school, we'd sit and watch all the best cartoons, eating cereal until it was noon. We never thought that 30 years later it'd still be cool. Saturday night and cheesy movies, the ones that used to show us boobies. It's our special little spot tucked away on D-Live. Enjoy the joy of Pessy. Enjoy the joy of Pessy. Enjoy the joy of Pessy.
Now with less than 3% sport content. It's the starting block on TAVshow.com.
Yes, Yes, welcome back to the block, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Just while I've got you here, a little bit of inside goss, a little bit of inside baseball. I am concerned right now that Greeno may have been told to be quiet by one of the neighbours, because I did hear in my cans that you don't hear out there in broadcast land, but I did pick up a little garage door opening and then closing and then something like, she'll be right, mate. So, Greeno, do we have to end the show early because the neighbours are complaining about the chatter, Greeno? So,
No, not at all. So,
okay. Little story time.
Once a bit of opening the kimono.
I like stories about pinatas.
My wife works Friday evening, so what generally happens is I still have to keep an ear out for the kids whilst doing the show, whilst out in the garage.
Right.
So the garage door is always like quarter open.
Yes.
Now, during the ad break and while we went to the ad break, as I looked on down and I saw some like footsteps going past the garage, and I probably need to go inspect that. Because the wife's normally not home at this particular point in the evening.
Cat burglar out there.
Yeah, you just never know. Or it could be one of the kiddos.
Could be out there.
You just never know. Yeah. So I had to go check on who was out there. Turns out the wife's home early from work.
Right.
All good, which means
you've always liked Ted Danson too. You could have Whoopi Goldberg could have been sneaking around. You could have been Ted Danson, Greeno, in that moment, couldn't you?
Could have. Without the blackface, obviously.
Yeah. No, you'd want to keep that.
Nice, Gary. You reckon keep that?
Oh, absolutely, Greeno.
Yeah.
if you had a black girlfriend, would you or would you not engage in some kind of slave role playing situation, Greeno? Because from what I've been told by certain individuals, I've been told by a couple of white guys I know who have been down that road that yes, it's absolutely a thing, and they quote unquote they love it.
Nice, Gary. Wait, when you say slave role playing, you're saying I'm the slave or they're the slave?
Oh, come on, Greeno.
Just, I'm saying, is it role playing where they take on the domineering role? It's kind of like a reverse thing.
Actually, I think both ways would work.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're asserting their
That's
authority.
True, actually. Come to think of it, I never thought of it. I just assumed it would be one way. But maybe they're actually saying, no, it's racist. Great. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Damo, could do a quick story time if we can?
Please.
I like stories about
Can I just say I'm happy we're back to some degree of smut on the show. It's been a while, Greeno.
Oh, it's good.
Smut back.
It's nice to have it back. Throughout the course of the week, I talked about the emails a little bit earlier. I want to give a bit of an email dick move. So, the wife comes in during one of my lunch breaks throughout the course of the week. She's like, "Did you get the email from our lawyer?" And I'm like, what do you mean?
You have a lawyer? That's incredible. I didn't know you were that well off. Who is he on speed dial?
No, lawyer enough as in like the person that, wrote our contract for our conveyancer and then wrote our wills.
Hello, Mr. Goldstein. I just thought I'd touch base. My kids are playing at a random's house up the road, and I just want to make sure I'm covered here from a civil rights perspective.
It's a civil liability. The kid scratched. Can I sue? Is it too late to sue?
Yeah.
What was the
scenario? How much money do you think they have? I mean, this scratch goes from my kid's forehead down to a chin, all right? It's pretty severe.
Yeah.
So how much can we milk them for? We'll get some new neighbours.
Side note, back to the previous story, fucking new neighbour friends loaded.
Really?
Loaded.
Loaded.
Just because I'd never seen inside their garage before. And I'm like, that's fucking like
what's you got in there? A lot of sports memorabilia and shit?
Not so much. It's a full racing kit for a video game. Like
nice. Simulator, Greeno.
A full simulator. I'm like,
fuck
you bought that for your kid? And he's like, yeah, he loves the F1.
Gary.
That's why I ended up in the F1 combo because I saw him like, is that like a full racing simulator? He's like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Very good. So anyway, get an email from the lawyer. Turns out your wills, if contested in court, could be a bit of a problem because we did it during the pandemic and we had to do it over Zoom. So we had to sign everything over Zoom.
These no. I'm going to interrupt this story.
I like stories about pinatas.
And I'm going to say...
That's a good day.
I'm going to say that this is clearly, like, did you ever get that feeling when you go to the doctor and you're healthy and they're like, you know what, I just want you to come back in a couple of weeks and have a checkup.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure that everything is okay. And you know within yourself, you're okay. You don't need to go back for that checkup. And you get that split second and you resist the urge to think it because you want to think that all of these people only care what's best for me and they're doing their best for my well-being and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you do have that niggling sensation in the back of your mind that says, are these people inviting me back purely so I will be here and they will get another fucking payment? Like in 2 weeks' time, they're just banking another fucking check, Greeno. So I'd be concerned. I'm getting that kind of vibe here. I've got to be honest with you.
That in itself didn't faze me because you know me, how frugal I am.
Yes.
No one's signing me up for anything more. I'm not paying another
You've
fucking
got a good
cent.
Firewall for that, don't you?
Yeah, it's already firewalled up. Nah, man, I'm not buying. Okay, thanks for coming. However, when the wife's like, "Oh, did you get this email?" I'm like, "No, didn't get it." So I'm like, "Hang on." So let me check, and then I'm like, "Can you just forward me the email they sent you?" So I can double check it, make sure it was sent to me, make sure because sometimes there's like the email address is wrong, they missed a particular letter in my name, and generally that's an issue. So I'm like, they've obviously just sent it and they've just misspelled it. I checked the email, I'm like, no, that's all fine. I checked my junk email, nothing there. Turns out, for some reason, like, enlarge your penis size gets through the firewall.
Nice.
Do
those even exist anymore? I'm amazed.
No, they really don't. But for the purposes of the joke,
I wish they did. Yeah, because I really need one. If you've got an enlargeyourpenis.com site out there, give me a flick. Send it to me. Slide in my DMs, bro.
The 7 billion fucking phishing emails that I get that get through my inbox,
maybe
all good.
Maybe that'll be our new marketing strategy, Greeno. We'll go for the the rats and mice kind of deals. We'll get the enlargeyourpenissize.com and we'll give them, say, they can pay us 30 cents for 30 seconds of advertising on the show. You know what I mean? And we'll just do it for 45 minutes out of the hour and a half. And that's how we'll make, how much money will we make? You're an accountant. You figure it out. It'll cover the case. It'll cover a case of Mountain Dew anyway. Put it that way.
It might.
It'll be more than what we're currently getting because we split a case now at the moment.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
And then we have to split that with BE and the Unity Day report.
And just getting split if you know Stefan's poll.
Barely a can left by the time we've divvied it out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Global warming as well, Damo.
Climate change, Greeno.
Climate change.
COVID.
Fucking love the shop. We can't share the bottle. Fucking it's got to be in individual syringes. We're going to do it like through a mask. It's all over the shop. What was I talking about? Oh, anyway, I get all the dick emails, but nothing about my will. Turns out it arrived 5 days after from when it was sent. Managed to finally get through, but in that time, 24 spam emails.
Nice, Gary!
Fantastic.
So dick move to the email provider.
You dick!
For that. I know we're going to talk racist coffee next, Damo, but I just want to put something out here for you. I saw this ad the other day, and it got me thinking about logic of food. Okay, and I want to give you a hypothetical scenario.
Okay, yes,
and you
this
tell
is
me
fun.
what
I like
you think.
hypotheticals.
Okay,
okay.
Now, if I said to you, "Hey, Damo, here's 100 slices of pepperoni, and I want you to consume that in one sitting," what would your initial thought be? 100 slices of pepperoni.
I could do it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I really do need to nail down. Are we talking like the classic kind of roughly 50-cent coin size pepperoni slice?
Nothing crazy. Like I'm talking a 20-cent piece of pepperoni, but you've got to in one sitting consume 100 slices of pepperoni.
Yeah, I would think I could do it, and I'd ask for some cheese and crackers as well, just on the side to mix it up. But my next question would be, how long do I have to do it?
You've got 15 minutes.
No, that's probably too quick.
Right?
I could do it over a couple of, like a movie. If I was watching a movie, when you just snack during a movie, I could absolutely destroy 100 slices of pepperoni, no problem whatsoever.
Over that course. But in the course of like a 15, 20-minute like dinner time, like I'm going to give you a regular dinner time. I want you to eat 100 slices of pepperoni. It's a no, right? It's a hard no. Yeah. It's going to be a battle because that seems like too much pepperoni.
I would feel like I'd have a better chance if I got the pepperoni pre-sliced. So give me 100 slices worth in a roll, like in a big stick. And
you reckon a stick?
Yeah, I reckon that would be easier because if you look at 100 slices, it looks like a big pile of chips on the table. It looks like more, but if it's in one stick and you can hold it in one hand, you'll be like, yeah, I can gnaw my way through this.
Gnaw away. Okay.
Give me 15 minutes, I'll have a crack,
Yeah. Yeah. Because here's the scenario, right? So I saw this ad for Pizza Hut, and they're doing this thing with like pepperoni pizza. Now 100 slices.
My favorite kind of pizza, by the way.
That's my favorite type of pizza too. And I thought about it. I'm like, that's amazing. I'm going to fucking order that pizza. I'm going to fucking smash the whole pizza down.
Fuck yeah.
Then it got me thinking about the logic of it, because I would smash down that pizza in a dinner sitting in 15 minutes. And I'm like, whoa. I'm about to consume 100 slices of pepperoni.
Yep.
Not just that,
but
I'm also going to
and
consume
cheese.
dough and cheese and grease and oil and all the fucking shit that's
You're
come
so
off
right.
and it's cooked.
So many times I have smashed a whole large pizza in 15 minutes. It's
In
not
15
I
minutes?
can't even count the amount of times I've done
I've
that.
done it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
But I'm like, hang on, if I differentiate this kind of algorithm and go, you're going to eat 100 slices of pepperoni, I'm like, I can't do that. That's fucking too much pepperoni.
That's so true.
You put it on a pizza.
You found a
with
little
dough and
psychological dead end, Greeno. In our psyche, you found a little brick wall that we can't get through. We
I'm
would
not
never
crazy,
sit
right?
down and
Yeah.
eat. We would never sit down and eat 100 slices of pepperoni. But if we put 100 slices of pepperoni on a pizza, we'd be like, I'll smash that in 5 fucking minutes. Watch me.
I want a garlic bread with it. Like, I'm like, I need more.
2
I want
liters
garlic
of
bread.
Pepsi. Fantastic.
There's a little bit of math.
Oh, I'm
going
going to give you another nice Gary for that. That's a hell of an observation, man. Well done. Well fucking done.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let's move from 100 pieces of pepperoni on a pizza to racist coffee, Damo.
Well, I'd love to put the thing up for racist coffee, but we have been over this. When you send me the link when it's part of a messages group, I can't pull it. It just random. It doesn't go to the thing. It goes to like a random part of the messages, and it's not the actual one that I need. So,
there we go.
and I can never find it. So, but describe the content that I would otherwise put up on the screen.
That's a very fucking good point, because I'm like, I don't know where the racist coffee was.
Should we skip to Dylan Mulvaney then? Is that her name? Or?
Yeah, why not? Let's skip to that. Okay. So we'll skip the racist coffee. Oh, this was something you sent to me, I think.
Did I send this? No. I think this is one of yours. The woke beer. This is one of your ones.
No. I'm talking about the racist coffee was one of your ones. But anyway, we'll get to the woke beer.
We can skip my one. Yeah, that's fine. We skip everything in mine. It's fine.
It was something about the fact that coffee has origins that come from.
Oh yeah, that's right. There was an article. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
There was an article, and it says that drinking coffee is the perpetuation of white supremacy because coffee was an exploited product. It was exploited by the white man and shipped overseas. And if you drink it, you're perpetuating white supremacy, which I just thought was just so. You know me, I love these fucking ironic things in life. I just look back on and smile. And I remember, a few years ago, Starbucks spending $50 million or whatever it was to retrain their staff to be more culturally aware and, I love blackpeople.com kind of situation. Not that any of them didn't like black people to begin with, but they were forced to go through this entrainment anyway, regardless of their stance on black people, regardless of whether or not they do slave role playing in sexual situations. Regardless of any of that.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
it's reversed. It's fine.
Yeah. So here we are, kind of 5-6 years later, and now all coffee is racist. And one of the biggest anti-racism activists happens to be a fucking coffee company. So I just love the thought of people reading that for the first time, agreeing with it, and then realizing later that morning that they were about to go into the Starbucks that they've been going to every morning for the last 10 years.
Exactly.
Right? Did they have a guilty conscience moment? Did they think, oh my God, I own a plantation by buying this mocha latte with sprinkles? Did they have an existential crisis right there and then in the fucking drive-thru because they're too lazy to get out and order their own coffee on their 2 feet? Did they have that moment? Those are the things that make me smile every day, Greeno. Those thoughts.
Cancel everything.
Yeah.
I tell you what I've been getting into in the break, mate, is I was watching some. I've been watching
seasons here on the show.
Oh, seasons. My apologies. Yeah, the whole week and a half we were back, and then we fucking took 2 weeks off.
Well, that was season 34 or something.
Season 400, something like that.
400.
Whatever
Chump,
it may be.
yeah, that's it. I was being a little more conservative, but all right. Season 400 of the show.
It's close to 400 if we're taking any week off as a start of a new season.
It means we're doing roughly 80 a year, 80 seasons a year.
80 seasons a year.
That's more than the episodes we do.
Yeah.
So what? We're breaking seasons into So in one episode, you'll hear 3 seasons of the show, will you?
Yeah, that outbreak. This is season 2 of the current season, or episode 2 of the current season.
Episode 2 of the current season.
Yeah. Now we watched all the cooking shows during the break,
Nice.
and
I do love
was
a good
watching
cooking
someone make something called an affogato, which I'd never seen before, which is kind of like it's like an espresso but on ice cream.
I also love that you've watched so many cooking shows that you refer to it as I've saw someone cook something. That's fucking good stuff.
I don't like promoting particular shows.
Okay,
So,
no, promote. Who made this thing?
Oh, it's this chick who I find strangely entertaining, even though she's so nerdy. It's called Mary Berg. Mary Makes It Easy. So she does like simple
I'm looking it
recipes, but she's such a goofy fucking nerdy chick. But she does it in such a lovable way. I can't help but find her funny.
Okay.
Kind of chick I reckon Pessy would be into.
Holy shit, there's a lot of videos for it. Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, we're talking bold frame glasses here.
There's bold frame glasses.
There is definitely bold frame glasses involved. Here's Mary. Let's have a look.
New kitchen. Just bought my first house. Come on in. Buy everything can. Has got to be a cast iron skillet.
I already know what this is. No. I already know what this is, ladies and gentlemen.
I like stories about pinatas.
And it's a story, and it's a story that I know all too well. I know why Greeno watches this chick. It's because she's a redhead. Okay, and Greeno has always had a thing for the kooky redheads. So here she is.
It might have been part. You might have got into my cerebral there.
Yeah.
Make stews in it. The pork.
She's a kooky, happy-go-lucky redhead.
She's a kooky, happy-go-lucky redhead.
Yeah.
Onions. Ooh.
With bold frame glasses.
But make sure it is heat proof. You live with someone like
Gotta be
my
heat proof,
mom.
Damo.
Oh my God,
She
she's
just
got
likes to
Dame
leave this in a
Edna
hot
level
pan,
glasses
which
as
usually
well.
results in a melted
And the
spatula
eyelashes
and
too,
even
by the
dinner.
way.
Hi, Mom.
Does she actually
My
cook in
wrath.
any of these?
This
What's
is
going
my
on?
number-
She's just holding up products, Greeno.
It's go-to
She could have
kitchen
been-
tools.
In another
The
era,
videos-
she would have been working on The Price is Right, Greeno.
No,
or
she'd be
Wheel
on
of
Bert-
Fortune.
She would have been on Bert's GMA.
GMA.
She would have been the Moira of this generation.
Fucking Moira.
Nice,
What a reference.
We need to get Moira
What
in
a
for
reference.
Unity Day. So anyway, she was making an affogato. Now, I was only half paying attention to the episode, so all I saw was ice cream and coffee.
Okay.
All right, so I'm like, well, I've got a fucking coffee machine. I'm going to fucking whip this bad boy up. So I did it. Now, unfortunately, the only ice cream I have in my house, because I've got young children, is like a rainbow ice cream.
Right.
So I'm like, well, surely it's all fucking fine. So we whipped up, we made a fresh espresso, put it on a bit of ice cream, rainbow ice cream, in inverted commas, had a sip, still tasted pretty good. And I'm like, this is all right. So that's now become my like afternoon coffee to mix it up.
Right.
Instead of having like a regular cappuccino, I have scoop of ice cream because I got normal ice cream, fucking a double espresso on top of it, and that's my thing. Now, it turns out I've been doing it wrong the entire time because I assumed it was a coffee, right?
Mm-hmm.
Turns out it's actually meant to be a dessert. You're meant to eat the ice cream and the coffee is the round around it.
Yeah.
And just meant to absorb in.
Okay, but you let it melt and have it as a drink.
Well, I turned it into a coffee.
Nice, Gary.
I said coffee in that ice cream instead of milk.
Can we pour
It's
some
fucking
Baileys
delicious.
in it too while we're at it?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it says to add a liqueur, but obviously
yeah.
I didn't see that bit either.
Well,
I
then
can't
it's
do that
definitely a coffee if you add liqueur, if you ask me. I'll be pumping those bad boys
That's
down
my point.
7:30 a.m. No, it's
Fucking
coffee.
delicious, mate.
Yep.
It was fucking delicious. So I've been smashing those down all week because when the wife said to me, hey, you realize this is meant to be a dessert, right? I'm like, what do you mean? I looked up the recipe and I'm like, oh, I'm meant to eat the ice cream. She's like, yeah, you dickhead. I'm like, did you not watch the episode? I'm like, half. I was half watching.
When I
But
was When I was
Stumbled on something nice.
When I was a kid and I was left at home alone, Greeno, like, and when I say kid, I'm talking like 11, 12, 13, you know, your parents would go off to the shops or whatever, half an hour, right? Be good. Yeah, I'm just watching TV in my pajamas. I'll be good. What I used to do back in the liquor
cabinet.
That's right. Well, no, not the liquor cabinet necessarily, but the thing that I would do at breakfast time if I was in one of those situations when I was getting myself breakfast, I wouldn't just eat like cornflakes with milk. I would put cornflakes and then like a scoop of vanilla ice cream and then sprinkle Milo over the whole thing and then add the fucking milk. And that was my fucking breakfast.
Yeah. That's bricky.
Yeah, fuck yeah. You know, ice cream and Milo to go with your cornflakes every day. By the way, Dr. Kellogg, Greeno, go back and listen to the story at the start of the show if you missed it.
When you were telling that story, I thought you were going to reference the fact that I can't remember if it was your mum or Nana who used to give us coffee lollies.
Yeah, Capico or Topico.
Capico, whatever they may have been.
Yeah, these little things in like a black and red wrapper.
Yeah, black and red. I fucking remember the wrapper.
Yeah.
We must have been 8 or 9 sucking down these coffee lollies and not realizing what they were. Yeah. I thought that's where you were going with that story.
Yeah, because Greeno will tell you, like, I was raised by people who are kind of like 20 years older than everyone else, you know, like everyone else's parents. So they did have like kind of old fashioned things. Here's the product.
That's
right
the
here.
ones. We've ate 8,000 of those things as a kid.
Capico. Yeah.
Capico. That's what was around the house. So we'd be like, oh, can we have a lolly or anything, Mrs. Damo? Yeah. And she'd be like, oh, yeah, here you go. And we'd smash down some Capico.
Yeah. Isn't that fucking hilarious? That's, yeah, coffee. Look, it's even got on the bag, strong and rich coffee candy, by the way.
And it was strong.
And then they'd wonder why, as like 9-year-olds, we could easily be up till 6 a.m. playing video games. Literally.
Watching tennis.
Yeah, watching tennis.
Watching the US Open at 5 a.m. Like, go to bed. And like, you've just given us 700 coffee lollies. What are we meant to do?
Things that people normally watch to fall asleep, tennis and golf and all those kinds of sports, sleeping sports, you know. They're good sleeping sports. NASCAR is a sleeping sport. You can put NASCAR on and just doze in and out and like be like, yeah, 50 laps to go, she'll be right, you know. Same with golf and tennis, and we'd be up till 6 a.m. watching it because we were sucking down these little coffee suckers.
Coffee lollies. That's good.
Good story, by the way.
I like stories about pinatas.
We're back to the woke beer, weren't we?
Yes, woke beer.
Woke beer.
Look, I've somewhat been following this.
Yeah, you can explain it to me because I've only caught the back end. Like my summation, because once again, you know, I don't like to deep dive into controversies. What I'm getting the assumption is the brand that owns Budweiser, is it Adheiser Busch, something similar to that? Has put out they're realizing that the younger folk are not buying Budweiser, so they've tried to rebrand it into a more kind of like woke
it's a tolerant beer now, is it?
Tolerant beer, gender neutral beer.
You see, Lisa, most of our customers have been well dying, and we need young smokers to take their place.
Spot on.
Yeah. So Busch Light, Bud Light is basically the Laramies of the real world.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
So this lady is trying to explain the whole rebranding aspect of the beer.
Okay, so Chrissy Mayer, who's a comedian, tweeted this, and this is Dylan Mulvaney, who is a trans individual, Greeno, who's been named as, I think, some kind of spokesman for the company.
No, I thought this is like the she's in charge of advertising, I think, this lady.
Oh, is she? Okay. All right.
Yeah, we'll find out.
I'm a businesswoman. I had a really clear job to do when I took over Bud Light, and it was this brand.
Right, okay, yep. So this is the person whose idea it was to hire.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look.
To rebrand Bud Light in this particular way.
Okay, let's have a look. This will be good.
Oh, I'm a businesswoman.
Now, Bud Light, correct me if I'm wrong before we get to the explanation, Greeno. Now, I could be way off here. Is Bud Light in some way, shape, or form associated, would you say, with the average NASCAR fan?
I believe so. Yeah. I think if you're rocking out to what are they refer a tailgate party.
Tailgates, yeah.
You rock up to the NASCAR.
People will get to the NASCAR events 10 hours earlier and set up a smoker on the back of their truck and put ribs in it, Greeno.
They'll have a case of Bud Light. They'll have a case of Coors. They'll have whatever it may be. Now, we need to our boy, Stephen Babb, you need to get in touch with us and let us know.
The politics
are we missing
this.
something? Yeah. The politics of the beer. Because we know in Australia, there's tiers and, certain demographics that will buy certain beers. So our cheapest piss beer is VB. And
it's not even that cheap anymore, really.
It's not even that cheap anymore, but that's the one, if you go to the pub, that's the cheapest one on tap.
Yeah.
That's the one that, if you only got a few bucks, you buy a jug of that and you're all good. Then you go up. Then you've got your different brands of beer.
Well, I put Tooheys New on the same level as VB.
The same as VB.
Yeah.
Spot on.
So you're either a VB person when you're a poor cunt like me and Greeno were growing up. You're either a VB person or a Tooheys New person, and we were both Tooheys New people.
Yeah,
but VB is definitely bigger than Tooheys New. Like
100%, yeah, because it's more of a Victorian beer. Yeah. And then as you go up, you've got different tiers of beer. So for me, I'm a bit of a beer snob in a way. So the beer I buy, Squires, is more of the upper echelon of beers.
Yeah. And these days, I don't even have a go-to. I decide which beer I get when I walk into the cool room, and I'm like, I look around and go, yeah, I'll grab that today.
Try that one today.
I never have a plan when I go in anymore.
But you're not going in and going, I'll get the VB today. That's my point.
No, it's I don't think this will be legit. I don't think that I've ever actually bought a VB unless I was buying one for someone else.
Yeah, me too.
So, but I've had VB bought for me, like, here's a case. And I'm like, oh, that's great. What am I going to use that for? To fucking
cooking beer.
Yeah, what am I going to do with this shit? Yeah. I'll have to I'll put it in the fridge and give it to people when they come over.
Yeah. When you say, hey, we'll come over, have a couple of beers, and then the VB comes out, and you aren't drinking this? No. I think I'll stick with the wine today. Yeah, it'll be all right.
Yeah. No, I'm going to have some good beer. Okay. Yeah. I'll give you the shit.
Let's see what this lady's got to say.
All right.
A really clear job to do when I took over Bud Light. And it was,
what was it?
This brand is in decline. Okay. It's been in decline for a really long time. And if we do not attract young drinkers to come and drink this brand, there will be no future for Bud Light.
Can I just say, if this is true, I find it remarkable that she would just openly admit that in an interview. And am I way off? But I would seem to think that corporate strategy, probably the people who hired her would probably not approve of her revealing that if it's true. I agree with you. I think I'm making the assumption that there's probably been some backlash to this particular campaign, and she's trying to justify why they've gone this angle. But by the time you justify it, then it's not justifiable. Like the fact that if you have to justify a marketing campaign, then it's already failed. You can't save it at that point. The fact that you're justifying it makes it unjustifiable, right? Because a good marketing campaign means you don't have to fucking justify it.
I agree. I think in a roundabout way, what she's saying is old people are homophobes, young people love everyone.
Yeah, that's true. I never picked up on that kind of, you're right. Yeah. Young people are so much nicer than the rest of you.
Than the rest of you.
And racists.
Exactly. I think that's the point she's trying to make here.
Or as I coined them earlier, Greeno, average NASCAR fans.
NASCAR fans I love some racism.
This brand is in decline. It's been in decline for a really long time.
I can't be too critical of Bud Light here.
I like stories about pinatas.
Because it has genuinely been my opinion now for a few years that I've said this many times on my own podcast, Greeno, that at this point, the online reaction to things like this is also as predictable as the opposite politically, right? So you think that you're trolling other people when you say provocative things politically, and then the other side go, oh, fuck you, you're a fucking prick, blah, 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 blah. Now, that has become, in my opinion, a marketable commodity. So even though the company probably knew that it would stir up some kind of hornet's nest, but it would create conversation, it would create clicks, and really, they care more about volume. So if they can net like 10 times more online audience than they otherwise would have without doing this campaign, they'll take happily 50% of those people online are going to hate us. That's fine. But we're actually trying to get the 10 to 15% to like us, because the people who are already like not online, we don't care what they think. You know what I mean? They would have done that kind of maths. They know that if they go down a particular route, it's going to create an equal and opposite reaction, which they can then profit off. And they go, everyone's a racist and a bigot, and it creates more headlines, and it just keeps their company in the press constantly.
All they've done is, it's free advertising, and that's a fair thing. That's why all these companies create these strategies, because we joke about this every time we fucking bring these stories up. Yeah. We're talking about it on our show. We don't give a fuck about Bud Light, but suddenly we just give them. We got 7 listeners, so who cares? We're talking about it, and we've just given Bud Light free advertising.
Exactly.
Now, to counteract that, Bud Light tastes like cat piss. So I
don't think I've ever had it. I really like the Red Label Budweiser.
No, Red Label's amazing because it's so not fucking light beer. Yeah. So I had Bud Light when I went to the US because they didn't sell in LA. The hotel I stayed at didn't sell proper fucking beer. They sold Bud Light. That's
weird to me. I would have thought that in this country, right? If there was a Budweiser equivalent. In this country, the Red Label would be the famous one. It would be huge. And Bud Light would be the one that the homosexuals ask for at the garden parties, Greeno, in the eastern suburbs.
That's selling in LA. Yeah, exactly.
But it's the other way around there. Like, the Bud Light is the famous one, and everyone's like, ooh, you drink Red Label? That's gross, you know? Like, is Red Label the hillbilly beer? Or?
It's the hillbilly beer because it's full-strength beer, yeah.
Ah, right. I didn't... Is Bud Light full strength? I thought it was full strength, but it was like low carbs or something.
No, we had this conversation 1,000 times before. Bud Light is a light beer. And we're like, why is this? Because Americans seem to love light beer. And it confuses me. Because in Australia, we're just trying to get fucked up as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
So anyone who drinks, like if you bring a 6-pack of light beer to a party and you put it in the communal esky, and you take one at the start of the night, at the end of the night, there will be 5 light beers left because no one is drinking it. And it's like, it's for the drivers. Well, the drivers are not going to fucking drink light beer. They're either not drinking or they're going to get fucked up and drink drive, or they're going to have one beer and then go home and then just be fine.
And to reference my earlier point, you know, when Greeno and I grew up, if you took light beer to a party, to a barbecue, you would be accused. I'm sorry, this is the way it was. You would be accused of being a homosexual.
Nice, Gary!
That's the way it went. What did you bring light beer for? Are you gay? That was the next question. Are you gay?
Here's the concept of it. You could bring, and here's a legitimate story.
Yeah,
you could bring
I like stories about pinatas.
If you, as a guy, bought a bottle of Passion Pop to a party,
Pop was a big social faux pas for a man.
Or a 6-pack of light beer, you were more likely to be called a homosexual for bringing the light beer than the Passion Pop.
That's true. And remember, like, when we started getting to 16, 17, 18, do you remember that, like, peach schnapps and shit started creeping into the male choices of drink?
Yeah.
You know, I was always like a bourbon guy or a whiskey guy or a vodka guy, you know. Tequila was one, you know, we would kind of hit the harder stuff when we were 15, 16, 17, 18. But then it started creeping in, oh, no, man, schnapps is so nice. You know, this coffee, like chocolate schnapps, you can drink it and it's fucking...
Peach, there's a mandarin.
Yeah.
Like, what?
And when Greeno and I grew up in the mean streets of Western Sydney, you would also be accused of being homosexual if you brought some kind of coffee liqueur to a party.
Don't fucking bring that shit to a party.
Where's the fucking whiskey, mate? What are you doing? Cougar bourbon was our go-to because it was cheap as shit. I always loved, when I was young, Jameson was really cheap. So
Jameson was cheap.
Jamo was one of my go-tos, but then it became so popular and they actually upped the price. They should be lowering it because it's more popular, but they actually upped the price. And now I don't buy the shit anymore. You know,
we used to have a dude who every party we went to in year 12, because most people would just drink beer because that's like it was the cheapest thing to bring to a party when you're 17, 18 because you're all working part-time jobs. You didn't have much cash.
I used to bring my go-to for beer-wise was a 4-pack of the 500ml Guinness cans, Greeno, when I was 16, 17.
Because they were solid.
Big. Solid. That like 2 liters of beer when you're 16 will do you know, like
you're covered.
And Guinness sits so heavy, so you naturally drink it a little
drinking
slower.
Much. Yeah. Still fucked you up though.
Yeah, and a 4-pack you can just carry it in one hand. It's not complicated. You don't need an esky or anything. You can just sit them next to you on a cold Sydney winter's night, you know, and just you just hammer those for the next 2 or 3 hours. Right. You can drink Guinness at room temperature. It doesn't really make any difference. It doesn't make it any better or worse, you know.
Yeah. Our go-to was you used to be able to get these Tui's new throwdowns for a case. You could get it for $40, right?
Nice,
so
Gary.
you get 2 blokes to chip in 20, and then you'd send whoever was 18 to go buy it. And because they were so small, you were drinking them in a reasonable enough pace, and you know you're talking about a dozen throwdowns. You were pretty fucked up at the end of the night.
That's it.
Now the story time is there was this one dude, and every party he went to, he used to rock up at the start of a party with a bottle of JB, right? Jim Beam.
Yep.
And you never saw him take a sip of it.
Really?
But at the end of the night, the bottle would be empty and this bloke would be fucked up in the corner. And it happened every party.
Gary!
And you're like,
you never actually, it's like watching a sundial. You don't actually watch the shadow move, but it moves right in front of your eyes.
Because you never saw him mix it. Yeah. You never saw him, but you just saw that bottle slowly deplete throughout the night, but you never saw a drink in his hand other than the full bottle. And you're like, hey, has anyone seen this guy have a drink yet? No. Always fucked up by the end of the night, always an empty bottle of Jim Beam. And then the next party, you watch him. So by the time we got to the last party of year 12, that became the game. Hey, watch this guy. And just watch the bottle, because I've never seen him take a sip, but it's always fucking empty at the end, and he's always fucked up by night's end. Okay. We've got to see him drink something. So it became a running kind of a game of we got to see this. Yeah, we got to check on him. Did
anyone ever actually see him drink?
We did, yes. There's a photo from my year 12 after party.
There's photographic evidence, ladies and gentlemen.
Photographic evidence of me and this bloke drinking the drink together.
He's sculling
because we were making that joke like, bro, I've fucking been to 12 parties with you this year. I've never seen you have a drink, but you're always fucked up by night's end.
Yeah.
So
see, that guy had the right idea. You know what? Like he was attacking the the teenage parties with the right attitude, I think. No. I'm just going to take this bottle. I don't need any mixer or anything. I'm not going to take beers. I don't have to keep it cold. I seem to remember parties most of the time being in cold weather. I don't remember hot parties really. I remember cold parties like sitting around fires and stuff, you know. So yeah, that's the perfect drink for that. And you just put it between your legs and you just swig out of it until you're done. You know, that's it. You don't have to share. You don't have to go to the fridge. You don't have to mix anything. Yeah. You don't need a cup. You don't need a Pepsi. You don't need a Coke. You don't need anything. Just get used to sucking on the whiskey. And he'd be fucked up by the end of it.
Shotting it. Yeah. He had a shot glass. It turns out the actual story was he always had a shot glass that no one ever saw.
Yeah.
So he'd be sitting there chit-chatting, acting all social.
Shoot a whole bottle over the course of a night.
Over the course of the night. He just like, time for a shot.
Bit of a soldier, wasn't he, back for 16 or 17? That's pretty hardcore.
17-year-old. And
shoot a whole bottle.
I think he was sharing it. Like, so he's like, hey, man, want to have a shot? So he'd have a shot with someone, have a shot, and that's how kind of you get through the bottle.
I couldn't even do that. In my glory days, I couldn't do that. I can down like a couple of bottles worth with mixer, no problem, like in a 5-6 hour period, and I'll walk out of the place. I've done that before, but I couldn't sit there and shoot it straight, and I reckon I'd throw up halfway through.
It's over the course of are you talking over the course of like an 8-hour party?
Yeah, still, I don't think I could do it. I'd have to mix it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, 100%. I agree. I don't know how he did it, but yeah, it was, it always makes sure I find his house.
Nice, Gary.
Retrospective, nice Gary.
We done with the beer one, you reckon?
Yeah, we've only played like 13 seconds. Yeah.
No, let's play the rest of it while I grab a beer.
All right.
Let's see if there's anything.
Yeah, actually, I'll grab a beer too, so why not?
Yeah, let's just
I'm a
play.
businesswoman. I had a really clear job to do when I took over Bud Light. And it was, this brand is in decline. It's been in decline for a really long time. And if we do not attract young drinkers to come and drink this brand, there will be no future for Bud Light. So I had this super
future.
clear idea. It's like we need to evolve and elevate this incredibly
We need to evolve and elevate, Greeno. Now, see, I could be wrong, but to me, that doesn't sound like sell more beer. You know what I mean? So he's still getting them. I should have known.
Nice, Gary!
The joys of live podcasting.
What did I miss?
No, so I started talking to you, and then I heard the fridge still opening and closing. I was like, oh, he's not even here. He didn't hear.
Well, no, here's the story. So I grabbed a beer, I dropped the beer, and because the beer's in a can, I'm like, I'm not going to open that one.
No,
I had to go back to the fridge to
put it
get a
back
new
in
one.
the door. Did you put it back in the door, like on its own?
Yeah,
Did
no,
you
it's
quarantine
separate.
it? Yeah.
It's quarantine.
That's what you do with a dropped beer, eh? Like, you don't throw it out. You don't be like, oh, this is wasted. You set it aside in the door and you think to yourself, this is a smart play because it will settle. It's going to settle. I'll drink it last. But what you don't realize in that moment is you open and close the door 50 times a day. So you're actually shaking it up far more.
Just put it into a paint shaker, really. Yeah. She hasn't said anything good. I've still been listening.
Well, there's a little bit.
And if we do not attract
this bit here,
young drinkers to come and drink this brand, there will be no future for Bud Light.
Future.
So I had this super clear mandate. It's like we need to evolve and elevate.
I had this super clear mandate, Greeno. We need to evolve and elevate.
Nice,
Now, that doesn't sound super clear to me. What would sound super clear to me is we need to sell more beer.
We need more beer, yeah.
We need to sell more beer
to the kiddies.
Yeah.
How do we do it?
Now, evolve and elevate does not sound like a super clear mandate. You know what does sound like a super clear mandate, Greeno? We need to sell more beer.
Nice,
So that's what we're judging.
We need to get the kiddies pissed more. That's what we're trying to achieve here.
That's what the board of directors, that's what the shareholders are going to judge you on is did you or did you not sell more beer?
We only got $412 per share dividend last year.
Yes.
I've got a boat and I've got
a Jag
and I've got
an Aston Martin.
House. I've got a holiday house that isn't going to fucking pay from itself.
I've got a timeshare in the Hamptons, Greeno.
A timeshare in the Hamptons.
I'm middle management trench material.
I need that up to $950 per share. Get the fucking work, lady.
I invested in Bud Light because I went to a NASCAR race once and had ribs on the back of someone's Ford truck. Ford F-250.
41 hours. They were amazing. Yeah.
All right.
This incredibly iconic brand. And what I brought to that was a belief in.
So to say, it's not about you though, is it? It's about the product, right? It's not
Just
really about you. Yeah.
Make the drink good and people will buy it. That's generally how it works.
They will come. Yeah.
100%. I drink the beer I drink because it tastes very fucking good. And the sugars in it never give me a hangover. I can drink 50 of these bricks and I'll wake up the next day drunk, but still no hangover.
Yeah, that's true.
I drink another beer with shitty sugar. Suddenly, I'm like, oh, mate, I'm a zombie. When we were drinking those stupid fucking pineapple beers at the baseball.
Bin wine, Greeno.
Bin wine.
For example.
Like, I'm no good. So I'm willing to pay extra and buy this solely for the simple fact I know I'll wake up pretty fucking fresh.
It's cleaner. It's fresher.
It's clean. I'm feeling good. Just make your beer better. People will fucking buy it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you also won't be accused of being a homosexual at a barbecue as well.
Well, that's it. 100%.
What does evolve and elevate mean? It means inclusivity. It means shifting the tone.
It means a lot of management words.
Nice, Gary!
Who goes in and it's like, okay, I'm gonna fucking pick a beer.
Which one is shifting the tone of the public conversation?
Which beer feels more inclusive to me? Fuck off! Like. This is nothing other than getting clicks and free promotion, I guess. Yeah. Well done. She's done her job. Well done.
Well, she has, yeah. And again, the outrage is the farmable commodity in this economy here. Of
I'm not even outraged. I just find it kind of insulting that they think people buy beer because it's fucking inclusive. That's all.
Yeah. But for a few days, everyone around the world has heard the name Bud Light.
Bud Light, exactly. It doesn't make you want to buy it, though.
No.
It means having a campaign that's truly inclusive and feels lighter and brighter and different and appealing.
Lighter and brighter. So what? It was dark and disturbing before, was it? Maybe, perhaps.
I don't know. I don't know what our 7 listener demographic is like. let's say, out of interest, if any of our 7 listeners are from, say, the LBTGQ community, let me know. Like, get in touch with us and let us know if this makes you want to buy this beer more because you feel like it kind of fits in more with your community.
Every gay man or lesbian woman that I've ever met, and I've met my fair share, they would laugh at this and go, "This is ridiculous."
100% they would. 100%
they would. They would say, "This is nuts. This is crazy."
Yeah.
You know, don't be so retarded. They would say, "No, none of us drink beer in the first place. Why are they going down this road?"
You know who is getting on board with this campaign?
Who?
Bold frame glasses.
Bold frame glasses. Yeah. What's her name again? Your girl?
Mary. Mary's all over this. Mary's a fan of the inclusivity.
Okay. Mary loves
the
it.
people that they're actually trying to include don't give a fuck about it. They're still not drinking the Bud Light. And if they were drinking the Bud Light before, it's fine.
Why has she decided to take this room, by the way, for the interview? Could it be like to, subconsciously suggest to the audience, I'm a mother, so don't be too harsh on me? Yeah, you're gonna. If you criticize my business decisions, you're actually harming my children.
You're harming a mother.
I think that's what she's going to.
Like those badges. Remember the supermarket during COVID?
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm a mother, like, don't abuse me.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, well, I get it, but they're trying to put the image in your head of like, oh, it's your mum, don't fucking yell at her, blah blah blah. But I'm like, well, just because you're a mother, if you're acting like a fuckwit to me, I'm still going to complain. Like. That doesn't give you like free reign just because like, hey, I'm a mum. I can just spit all over your food. Nah, man, that's not how it rolls.
Oh, I've got to be honest here. Like, I get on well with older people because why? Because and Greeno's the same. We were kind of brought up, respect your elders and listen to your grandma's stories and
you can learn something.
Yeah, exactly.
They grew up in a time that was a lot fucking harder than what we have to deal with.
That's right. But they did. Now, the generation that came after them, the boomerish generation, now, I've got to admit that the younger people that I deal with, like in supermarkets or whatever, they're far more nice and friendly and smiling and chatty. I had an experience today. Like, I go to the same place to get a coffee if I'm getting one on the run. Yeah. And it was like the older boomers kind of served me and just rude straight out of the gate. Oh, I'm sorry that I got here at fucking 9:15 this morning and you've just started. You know what I mean? And it was like, what do you want? It's like a younger person would never talk that way to a customer, I find these days. Now, they can be vacant idiots, the younger people.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Yeah, I'm fine with that as long as you're happy. And you don't even have to be happy. Just be like,
No, I don't want them happy. I just want them to just kind of like just fucking do their job and be all right.
But don't be a cunt about it. Yeah. Don't be a cunt about it. You know what I mean? So
that's why there's a particular dude. When I see him in my supermarket line, I'm like, I'm fucking going to that guy's thing because he's 17. Yep. He doesn't fuck around.
Yep.
He's polite at the start. Yep. He doesn't fucking chit chat. He swipes my things pretty quickly. He doesn't put my eggs at the bottom.
Yep.
He's a fucking winner. He gets it. Now, the 30, 40-year-old lady, different story. Pain in the ass, got an attitude, feels like she's owed the world.
Yeah.
Entitled, fucks up the order of the eggs. I don't like it. It's no good.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I can't believe we're
Bud
still
Lights.
on this fucking clip.
To women and to men. And representation is at sort of the heart of evolution. You've got to see people who reflect you in the work, and we had this hangover.
This is hangover. Nice use, fucking idiot. What a fucking idiot. Do not reference. Let me tell you something, sweetheart. And you've got all the education in the world, but as a beer drinker, never reference a hangover when you're trying to sell your own product. Okay? What a fucking idiot.
If the end of it doesn't end with her referencing grog bogs, she's done it wrong.
Grog bogs. Sticky grog bogs, Greeno.
Was a belief in what does evolve and elevate mean?
Come out like hot tar infused with super glue, don't they?
You feel like you're dropping 41 kilos every time you go to the bathroom after a big session on the beers.
And you wipe, and you don't know how it got there, but both your cheeks are covered completely. And it's like, I don't know, how did it go backwards? Did it hit the water and bounce back up? Is it lighter than the water physically? Gary.
But it's the greatest wipe of all time because it only takes 3 wipes and you're done. It's that liquid.
That's
you're like,
true.
oh, we're finished. Like, there's nothing to clean here. We're finished.
Yeah, there's no little turtleneck trying to force its way out of there. Yeah, that's true.
Nah, it's all done.
It means shifting the tone. It means having a campaign that's truly inclusive and feels lighter and brighter and different and appeals to women and to men. I mean, representation is at sort of the heart of evolution.
We wanted the free publicity, and fucking you've got us on right now, so we won.
I like
well done.
She says representation is at the heart of evolution, and Charles Darwin spun in his grave, Greeno. Nope, pretty sure that's not it at all. It's not at the heart of anything.
Not a rainbow advertising campaign that Darwin had in mind, I'm thinking, when he came up with the theory of evolution.
Fantastic. There you go. She probably gets paid millions of dollars to do that.
Oh, 100%. She's on a decent amount. Yeah. Damo, let's go from that. So let's think of the children, Damo. You sent me this during our break, and my word, so good. So good. Let's have a squiz at this one. You can run through it.
Sky News host Rita Panahi has slammed a, quote, disturbing Dutch TV show. So what we really need is Victor von Schroom on deck for this one.
Oh, it's Victor. We need him.
Victor's around. He might hear this in the next couple of days and he'll get back to us if he does. But Dutch TV show featuring transgender individuals stripping down in front of children for them to ask questions about their naked bodies. So let's have a little look here. Because my initial thought is Rita Panahi is obviously a bigot. For, getting angry at this, wouldn't you say? Mm-hmm. We love inclusivity and diversity. I mean, these people should probably be selling beer, Greeno. Let's be honest.
On Outsiders on the weekend, we showed you some disturbing content from Holland.
I'll be the judge of that, Rita.
So I've heard the name Rita Panahi, whatever her fucking name is.
Yeah.
Way too much and never bothered to even find out because she seems to be one of those people that is there for clickbait.
Rita's all right. She's okay.
If that is her voice, fuck me. Like, I'm glad I haven't seen or watched anything she's been doing before.
It's very superficial. That's the kind of superficiality you love and respect and expect on this program, ladies and gentlemen.
Anyway, let's let this crazy person talk.
In Simply Naked Adults Get Undressed so that we can learn something about it. The voice is creepy. I don't even speak the language, but the voice is kind of creepy.
These kids, 10, 12-year-olds, get the opportunity to ask questions about their naked body. Whoa, let's fucking... Are adults about to get nude in front of these 10, 12-year-old kids?
Well, let's find out.
7 en 8 mogen aan hen alles vragen over...
No, could we just pause for 1 second? Because are we going to get fucking flagged for some, like, kiddie danger shit?
I don't know. If
my house gets raided, man. Like...
You've already got a reputation with the neighbours when it comes to coming over and watching the kids play. We don't need to add this to the mix. Yeah.
En vandaag hebben we als gasten transgenders. Het gaat echt om het gevoel.
Okay, it is covered, so...
No, not for the kids, it's not.
No, not for the kids. Hey, this is educational, though, Grant. This is good. This is progress.
Nice, Gary!
Look, my opinion probably doesn't count in these kinds of situations because I'm of the opinion that sex education in school is completely unnecessary as well, because it's my opinion that we copulated and procreated for literally hundreds of thousands of years without any kind of stargazing LSD tripper from the 60s instructing 10-year-olds on how to do so. So I'm sure we can live without that. And the other point that I would put to people when I would have these discussions with mostly educators who thought I was a whack job and a far-right extremist for putting it out there, I would say, well, if you take the sex ed lesson out of the classroom, it literally becomes a sex crime. Like, and I'm not even joking. If you put it's the classroom setting that protects. It's the classroom setting that apparently changes it. But you could take the exact same scenario and do it in a park with like a guy and 20 kids, and that guy would be thrown in prison for sex crimes because he's instructing people, this is what a penis is and this is what a vagina is and this is how it goes into the other one and this is what you do. This is how you put a condom on. If you take that out of the school setting, you're a sex offender. But for some reason, when you're in school, you can get someone who, graduated from university with relatively modest grades, smoked their way through college, became a teacher at the end of it. Next thing you know, they're giving life advice to 10-year-olds on about where to put their pee-pee. So I don't think it's necessarily relevant. I don't think it matters.
Cool. So I'm intrigued with well, actually, I'm not even intrigued. I don't know where this video is going, to be fair.
Well, she's a bigot. Let's skip ahead. Let's see what her opinion is.
Education.
Okay.
Kosher. Why? That was my question before the clip, and it remains my question. Why is it necessary to expose children to this?
Because it's about education.
Nice, Gary!
It's about education and nothing more.
Look, with that said, all those parents of all those kids are the ones that put those kids there. They would have had to sign a waiver.
Yeah,
so my question
no,
would be,
they volunteered their children for that experience.
100% they did, which is kind of my question is
That's
less
creepy as
about
fuck.
like, yeah, 100% that's creepy as fuck. Like, yeah, that's the people up there on the stage.
Yeah.
Well, that's creepy in one way, and the kids being there is fucking weird.
Well, those
But
parents, they're doing
there's a
that
whole bunch
for
of
them.
parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, the parents aren't doing it for the kids. They're doing it for themselves to go and tell someone else, hey, I'm inclusive, blah, blah, blah. It's fucking nuts. My daughter said something the other day and was looking at them and she's like, oh, that looks fucking weird. It's kind of a transgender person. I'm like, have whatever opinion you want. I'm not going to tell you one way or the other. Kind of agree. That fucking, you're right. That person does look a little bit weird. Because
That's the thing.
Like
Children don't have any filter for that kind
they
of
didn't
thing.
have a filter. And I'm like, yeah, I agree with you. Like, yeah, that's weird.
Well, and
do you see that
that's-
person in the street?
And that's
don't
why
fucking go there.
And that's why, Greeno, some elements in society dedicate all of their time to trying to convince children and to show children and expose themselves, quote unquote, to children, in order to be like, no, you don't have to think that they look different. I want you to think that it's normal. I want you to think that it's fine, you know. And there are pros and cons to every argument, every slice of life, I suspect. But I think you're on the right trail with your original thought, Greeno. It's up to the parents, really, because at the end of the day, don't let anyone tell you that you don't have a right to step in and go, by the way, I don't want you to show your dick to my kid, okay? Don't let anyone corner you into thinking you don't have a choice there, all right? So you are well within your rights.
Because we get a lot of permission notes for school. It's like, you know.
You've got to read those permission slips, eh?
Do you
Like,
agree for
read
them
them.
to run story time? Like my daughter.
I like stories about pinatas.
My daughter's got her like at the overarching age where she doesn't have to do the cross country yet, but she can do the cross country.
Okay.
So I asked her,
it's
like,
a
what do
bit
you
of
want to do?
physical exertion that you want to make sure you don't have asthma or anything, right? You know, you're
Yeah,
good.
100%. And also, like, you know, so they're asked to run 2 kilometers. So they're like, well, as a parent, do you sign off and then run 2 kilometers? Because 2K for like a kid my age, my daughter's age.
And it's a pretty
is fucking-
handy cross country runner when you were young, Greeno. I bet your first initial instinct was like, fuck yeah, I wanted to have a crack at it. Go for it.
100%.
Yeah.
But I gave her that choice. I'm like, look, do you want to have a go? So I said to her, I'm like, well, what we can do is I don't want you, you got to set them up to not fail, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, look, I want you to have a crack at it if you want to. If you want to do it, we're sweet. But let's at least trial it first. Because I'm not going to fucking throw you to the wolves and you get fucking 500 meters in and you're gassed.
Don't worry,
Fuck
kid.
it.
I'm going to train you. What we're going to do is I'm going to run you on the road and I'll drive behind you in the car. And if you slow down too much, I'll bonk you on the back of the head with the bull bar. Get you
Here's the
going
fucking
again.
story time, right?
Okay.
So for the
I
last,
like stories
for the last
about
2 weeks,
pinatas.
every lunchtime, because the kids been on school holidays, fucking Greeno and my daughter have been down doing fucking 2 kilometer runs down the athletics track.
Nice, Gary!
How are the
day
old
one-
knees holding up, mate?
Surprisingly, not too bad. Now, here's the thing. So day one, I made the rookie error, not the rookie error, but I said I didn't think of where to go, and I didn't think of like the psychological element where I said, hey, we'll go to the footy field. 2K is 20 laps of the footy field.
Yep.
Now, like the pepperoni pizza, if I say to you, eat 100 slices of pepperoni, you're like, I can't do it.
Do
But
20
if I
laps.
put it on a pizza, suddenly 20 laps seems daunting, right?
Yeah.
So I then said, so she didn't want to do it. She did like 100 meters. And I'm like, I know you can run more than 100.
Yeah.
Fucking, this is ridiculous. So she didn't want to do it. So then I took it to an athletics track.
Oh, and
And
all of a
said-
sudden it's the right setting, isn't it?
And suddenly she did 2Ks in no thing. And I'm like,
Nice, Gary.
Nice, Gary!
once again, taking that psychological element.
Yep.
So we've been doing that. Now, it's been going well. Been trying to get the time down, but she's been doing good, which is the main thing. Most importantly, she runs like 400 meters. She walks for a little bit. She runs 400 meters. She walks a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what you need to do, man. Like, just Like, as long as you
don't
get to
burn
the
out at
end,
the start.
yes.
Rather than run and walk, why don't you find a jog that you can do both? You know?
Exactly, and that's what I'm trying to teach it, pacing, right?
pacing,
I'm like, let's just keep a nice pace because you're sprinting out of the blocks. Let's just keep a nice pacing. Now, what's been so I've been doing that like my lunch breaks for the last week and a half.
So you're getting fit as well on the side.
I've been spent doing that. So I'm like, I said to her, so day one we did it, and I said to her, like, how you feeling today? She's like, great. I couldn't fucking move because I had to run the 2K with her. So, so we've been running 2K, and I'm like trying to keep up the pace.
It's also a horrifying story, Greeno, because I imagine myself to be the father who sits in the corner drinking port, smoking a cigarette, says, listen to this jazz musician from 1950.
Nice, Gary.
Dad, I want to go for a run. No, I want you to listen to this bass run. Okay, this is something else.
This is good.
Yeah.
So I've been out there doing the runs with her, waking up sore the next day.
Yep.
Now, what ended up happening halfway through this week is we get up there and there's athletes training for like an actual event.
Keep up with them. Go out there and try and keep up.
Involving like 25-year-old female glamours.
Mm.
So I'm like,
did you wear the Anthony Hardaway basketball shirt?
Nice, Gary.
So suddenly, Greeno's fucking working up. Greeno's like, we're gonna fucking lift the pace here.
All of a sudden, we were sleeveless in winter.
Sleeveless. I've got the fucking tight shorts. I've been doing glute exercises.
I've been running for a couple of weeks. I'm good to go here.
I'm looking fit. Yeah. We're upping the pace. We're doing good there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And the 25-year-old honeys down at the athletics tracks, Greeno, they love a man who's down there with her daughter, don't they? Like,
well, they look like a single dad down there.
Single dad. Trying to reef his wedding ring off in the car on the way.
It's in there.
Cut his finger off in the car park. Nah, it's just a flesh wound. It'll be right. Good. So tell me, do you train here every Tuesday at 9 a.m.?
Yeah, 12 a.m. Been down there every time. 12 a.m. Good to go.
Nice, Gary.
Good
the good
story.
thing is, daughter's got, she's gone from 15 minutes down to 7 minutes flat to impress the ladies.
Really?
Not really, but makes for a bit
something
of joke.
to aim for. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something to aim for. No, she's going to do good. She's at least out there. She's done the 2K fucking 5 days straight.
Good stuff.
Yeah, no, she's having good fun, which is nice.
I'm going to direct the baby bumper baby into more sedentary sports. I don't want to be out there running, but I'll stand next to you while you take a golf swing, or you know, like for example, right? Those kinds of sports, like diving, is a good one. I don't even have to walk up and down beside the pool. I just stand next to the diving board.
Stand. I can move my neck up and down. Yep. That's all I need.
I'll accept basketball because I'll get seats halfway, so I can see the whole track.
Teach your free throws,
yeah. But when it gets into athletics type related sports, I'm sorry, I can't help you there.
Get a whistle.
Yeah, get a whistle. Get a whistle. I won't even do swimming, Greeno. That's a bridge too far because you do have to walk up and down alongside the pool to coach them properly, and I can't be involved in that.
It's too much exertion.
I'll teach her how to swim. That'll be good enough. And then it's like, all right, you're on your own. Go out there and fight the dolphins and the whales and the sharks in the ocean. I'm sure you'll figure it out.
You'll be all right.
But we've gone as far as we can together in this coachee relationship, Yeah.
Yeah. Question for you, sir. Are you going to teach her how to suck on tongues?
Suck on tongues. You know what? I'm gonna be honest here and put my hand up. It's not something that I've necessarily thought about, but we probably should. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize either. I didn't realize that was part of the children curriculum until we saw this during our break. Yep. The Dalai Lama asked a young boy to suck on his tongue.
Suck my tongue.
Nice, Gary.
Dalai Lama. Buddha. He's a Buddhist, Greeno. We can't. Apparently, don't we have to think that every Buddhist on earth is like this peaceful, loving thing that would never do any harm to anyone whatsoever? Like, isn't that? Yeah.
It's an interesting one because that you're right. That's the kind of general thought I've always had to Buddhists of like, oh, they're a peaceful people, right? Yep. It's like they're not going to cause any problems to anyone. And then I saw this and I'm like, I probably should look into this a little bit more.
Where's the picture? Here it is. Because look, they didn't even put this. So this explains everything you need to know. The Guardian, right? They did this article begrudgingly because they didn't put the actual picture of the event in the article whatsoever.
No.
They put a picture of him shaking hands and being like all Buddhisty.
All Dalai Lama-ish, yeah.
Yeah. But here's the actual image, and now you decide for yourself what you think of the
Nice, Gary.
And this is why I don't let my kids go off the road without me being there, Damo. I'd rather make 3 hours of small talk with people.
Yeah.
Because who knows, the Dalai might be living up the road.
This is why you have a lawyer on speed dial, Greeno.
That's why I get the lawyer on close contact. What the fuck? Like, I don't know what's going on here. Apparently, this was part of like
it's just a random old man asking a young boy to suck his tongue. What have you got against that? Surely it's fine. Yeah.
Now, can we ask the lady from Budweiser if this counts as inclusivity?
Nice, Gary.
Can we get a campaign around the Dalai?
I would wager that the lady from Budweiser is, in fact, herself a Buddhist, Greeno.
Evolution. You've got to see people who reflect you in the work. And we had this hangover. I mean, Bud Light had been kind of a brand of fratty, kind of out of touch humor, and
did she say trailer trash humor?
No, she said fratty, out of touch humor.
Out of touch humor.
Yeah.
Right.
So once again, NASCAR.
She's in. This one's in touch, is she?
She's NASCAR.
If she's in touch, then we're all out of touch. She's right then.
There we go.
Yeah, NASCAR, the average NASCAR fan. Shotgunning. This woman has never shotgunned a beer in a show. Nice, Gary, by the way.
Nice, Gary.
Damo, we got to get to the end of the show. Let's talk. Mitchell Johnson Award's back, baby.
Mitchell Johnson Award.
I'm so pumped at this because this isn't just a Mitchell Johnson Award. This is the amalgamation. This is kind of like the Marvel Universe.
I don't want to wait
the other universe. You know, it's the Creek. It's mixing with the Mitchell Johnson Award. And for our new listeners, we've got the Mitchell Johnson Award is in reference to a former Australian cricketer.
Yep.
Who for years and years and years
he'll be back.
He'd be good for a little bit, and then he'd suck, and he'd say, "I'm going to be back, I'm going to be back," and then he'd come back, and then he'd suck for a little bit, and he'd get dropped, and then he'd like, "I'm going to be back," and then he'd come back, and it happened over and over.
And this happened for 10 years, and then he ended up winning. Though he made the fool out of us because on the last occasion he actually did come back and he won us an Ashes series single-handedly.
Yeah, it was the best bowling performance I've ever seen in my life.
That's
over
right.
The course of the whole series.
He got tormented in England by like the England fans and stuff, and he was loose and erratic, and that's why he got dropped from the team in the first place. And then he literally ended at least one, possibly two careers. He ended Jonathan Trott's international career because Jonathan Trott came down to Australia and faced Mitchell Johnson, the equivalent of a pitcher in baseball, and he was so terrified that he quit cricket and went home. He quit.
For our baseball listeners, he was the Randy Johnson of baseball.
Randy Johnson, the Mariners guy.
Yes. So he came back. So we had to nickname the award after him, the Mitch Johnson Award. Now that then feeds into the Australians' obsession, or the Australian cricket obsession. We're selecting Marshes, who are like a famous cricketing family in Australia.
I thought when Sean retired, we'd seen the end of Mitch as well, but they're not a package deal.
Because Mitch has been gone forever, especially from the Test landscape. And I'll tell you why, because he hasn't fucking played first-class cricket for 2 years, yet somehow they fucking picked him to go to the Ashes as a backup for Cameron Green. Because we need more balance. Well, pick one of the other all-rounders that maybe has played first-class cricket in the last 2 years instead of bringing Mitchell Marsh back. The Creek, it's good to have him back, though.
Oh, absolutely. It's good to have the Creek.
Nice, Gary.
Just so we can play the theme song.
I'm just going to throw this up just to remind us of Mitchell Johnson, Greeno. This is just his wickets at the Gabba in 2013. Let's have a look.
Oh, what a test this was.
Yeah. Little Mitchell Johnson. You know what? To do a little bit of one of these retrospectively.
We've done it. We did it 4 or 5 times because we hung so much shit on that dude.
We really did. For 10 years, we hung shit on this guy.
After this series, I think we did a storybook every episode for like a month straight to make up for the amount of shit we gave him over that decade. We're like, we were fucking wrong. Well done.
Absolutely. It's only in 4080p. Okay, that's no good.
Presented by Toyota.
Well,
this is no good. Hang on. Give me a minute.
Is this going to get us a strike, though, on YouTube?
Probably. That would have, yeah. But I'll find something else. It's all right. I'll find a better one. It's got to be at least like good quality. All right, this is better.
And as Warney said in his warm-up deliveries out in front of the commentary box here, he was sending them through.
Okay, that's a regulation down leg side.
Yeah, that doesn't look too impressive.
That's the first time he got trot, though. Bloody quick, though.
Oh, yeah, still going about 150k.
That's just a little nick. That's a little edge.
Yeah, nothing there.
Oof, that's a bit.
It was those ones. That's at the chest.
Yeah.
Like, good luck playing that. Otherwise, you're getting a broken rib.
Yep.
And then just outside. Yeah, not much there.
That was KP, I think. There you go.
Here's the thing. Like, the wickets actually don't do it justice. What made him
Just
so good in the
terrorised them,
series
yeah.
was the non-wickets, because he was just drilling them in the chest.
Actually, you bring up a good point, because what I can do is find that one over against Jonathan Trott, which I think he retired the next day, basically.
Yeah.
He faced Mitchell Johnson, Jonathan Trott. I'm sure it's the first result that comes up.
First thing pops up.
Greeno. Mitchell Johnson versus Jonathan Trott. England.
Go the first one. It's 108.
Look at this. England, so this is a news article from 9 years ago. England have lost number 3 batsman Jonathan Trott to a, quote, stress-related illness. Oh, God.
He was so scared of Mitchell Johnson during this particular series.
Mitch
and
Johnson
quite
versus Jonathan Trott.
Well, that's Peter Siddle.
That's close. That's very close.
Oh, it's Australia versus Jonathan Trott.
that's
Yeah. No, that's no good either.
That's no good. Anyway, he fucking bowled well. But anyway, the creek's back for some unknown fucking reason. Doesn't matter. Unless Cameron Green gets injured, he's not going to play. So it really won't matter.
Yeah.
But insane that he's still considered the second best all-rounder, even though he hasn't played first-class cricket in 2 years.
2 years, great. No, he's played one game in 2 years, I think.
Yeah, one game in 2 years. Fucking insane.
Yeah. I thought he retired from Test cricket. I thought he...
That's what I thought. Well, no, he just hasn't been picked forever. So because he hasn't played for 2 years, who would have thought?
So what happened? Is Cameron Green injured, or...?
No, he's not. They're just... Because I think they realised in India, when Cameron Green was injured, the team just lost balance without having an all-rounder in there, because they were just... It just didn't work. So,
but that's India. You don't always need an all-rounder.
No, I agree. You didn't need a fucking all-rounder in India. You just needed 700 spinners. You're sweet. But that's what George Bailey's decided.
Blow the dust off Bryce McGain. Funky Miller.
That's it. Get him back
Frazier.
out.
Get Frazier over there, Greg.
Socky still fucking rolls the arm over.
Socky,
Get him
does
there.
he really? Still playing 2020, is he?
Still playing T20. Yeah, still playing T20.
Good on him.
We're going to get to the final segment, Dirty Bass, but something I realised today, because it's been a little while since we talked Shohei. So Shohei's doing what Shohei does. He's still fucking dominating and doing shit no one's ever seen. I was watching a clip before this show and I didn't realize Shohei throws. So we know Shohei bats, we know Shohei pitches. I'd tell you what I didn't realize until I was watching this clip earlier today. Shohei throws 7 different types of pitch as well.
I didn't even know there was 7 different types of pitches.
100%.
I thought there was like a fastball, a curveball, and a slider, and that's about it.
You'd think so, right? Hang on, bear with me. So he throws. I'm going to go back to the earlier chats.
So he's got a googly Greeno, is what you're telling me.
Okay. So he throws.
He's got a flipper.
He's got a 4-seam fastball. He throws 16.3% of the time. He's got a sinker. He throws 11.3% of the time. He's got a sweeping slider. He throws 44% of the time. He's got a vertical slider. He throws 6%.
No, see, you can't chop and dice the slider. A slider is a slider, isn't it?
Okay, well, there you go. He throws a slider 50% of the time. Okay. He throws a splitter 7.2% of the time. He throws a cutter 11%, and he throws a curve 3.4%. He's got fucking 6 different pitches if you combine the sliders.
Well, Keith Olbermann, who we all respect here on the show, he clearly stated to Greeno that Shohei Ohtani's not that good.
Nice, the face of the game doesn't speak English well enough.
Stuff. Yeah,
he's a fucking idiot.
You used to be a big Keith fan. I have brought you over to the dark side, haven't I?
No.
He's not all he's cracked up to be, though. That's the thing. He's a bit of a loose fucking cannon.
Keith's. Yeah. I like Keith's show, Oldman, back in the day, the sports show he used to on ESPN, back in 2012.
When he got political, he fucked himself, didn't he?
Yeah, well, not so much that. And then he just kind of I've come to realize he's just the grumpy old man who hates everything.
Yes.
He has no joy in anything. And I'm like, he was complaining about something the other day. And I'm like, do you ever feel joy, Keith?
Well, because he's the VB of the Bud Light campaign model. But he is. He's trying to cash in on the outrage. He's trying to provoke he's trying to provoke the reaction, but he's doing it in a very boomer way. And he's like, oh, fuck Donald Trump. So he would know that 50% of his audience is people who are hate watching him, you know.
Yeah, but he just hates everything though. Like, fucking give us a smile once in a while, Keith. Like something's got to be good.
Why the long face?
Yeah, exactly. And I know we're going to get to Anthony Bass to end the show, but
Anthony Bass. I don't even know who Anthony Bass is, but I loved this story so much.
He's a relief pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays. But your Oakland A's, Damo, will not be
Las
Oakland
Vegas
A's for very long. Apparently going to Vegas.
Are they actually going to really do it? Like, is it
really are,
concrete? Is it definite?
It's
sad,
done.
man.
It's done, man. They've been trying to get a new stadium in Oakland for the better part of a decade, or longer than a decade. But the problem is with these baseball owners, what they want to do, they want to take like public money. They don't want to pay for it themselves. So what they do is they threaten to move the team, and then eventually what happens in most
get an
states,
investor in. Yeah,
the government cave, the state caves and gives them like taxpayers' money to build a new stadium.
It's so ironic too, because California would normally fork over taxpayer money for all sorts of weird and wonderful fucking projects, and 100%. Here is actually like a community thing that people can rally around and be proud of, and they're like, nah, not doing it.
Well, the difference is the owners are billionaires, right? Like they can fucking afford to pay for it themselves. They just don't, because they're like, well, we'll just fucking move to Vegas and get Vegas to pay for it.
You don't become billionaires by writing checks.
Spending money. Yeah, exactly. So that's it. That's effectively what's happened. Is unless Oakland was going to pay for it, which they weren't, it just wasn't going to happen. So they'll move to Vegas a couple of years, and it's a shame. They've been in Oakland since I think it was 1968. They moved to Oakland.
Okay.
That particular team, which
I just feel like if they move, like I know this happened. This is far more common in American sports than it is here. So for me, it always feels a little bit foreign. But I know that all the teams at one point, like the funniest example of this for me is the whole Charlotte Hornets situation, where there was the Charlotte Hornets, and then that franchise moved to another city, and they became the Bobcats. I think the Charlotte Bobcats, and then people. No. That's a different sport. So the Charlotte Hornets moved. What city did they move to, Greeno?
Charlotte Hornets moved. No, they stayed in Charlotte.
No. So the original Charlotte Hornets.
Oh, they became the New Orleans Hornets.
No. Because they weren't the Hornets. The team that was the Charlotte Hornets, right? They moved to a different city and they became a different team. And then the people in Charlotte were like, we miss basketball. So they created a new Charlotte Hornets. But they weren't actually the original Charlotte Hornets. The original Charlotte Hornets were in a different fucking city or something.
Yeah. So
it was ridiculous.
The Charlotte Hornets then became the Charlotte Bobcats.
The Bobcats. Okay.
And then the Charlotte Bobcats then became the Charlotte Hornets again.
No, they moved. It was a franchise that moved to a different city, Greeno, and then they had to start a quote-unquote new franchise, the Charlotte Hornets. So the original Charlotte Hornets franchise moved cities, and then there was a new franchise who retook the name the Charlotte Hornets. I swear to God.
Oh, anyway, shortly after relocating the team to New Orleans.
New Orleans, yes.
So they became the New Orleans Hornets, and then they became the New Orleans Pelicans, and then the Charlotte Bobcats then became the Charlotte Hornets again.
There you go. So that to an Australian is a ridiculous thing, because
it's fucking so stupid. Yeah,
I know the Sydney Swans moved here in the 80s, I think, like 1981 or maybe 1980.
And we still refer to them as South Melbourne.
We still call them the South Melbourne Swans here in Sydney. If you're here in Sydney, you're either a Swans fan or you're not, and I was in the group that wasn't. So they were South Melbourne, and it's like they were here before I was born, and we still call them South Melbourne.
Yeah,
right. So, yeah, that's completely fine. So, to me, personally, like, I've only known the Oakland A's since I was a kid, and they've always been the Oakland A's. And if they become the Las Vegas A's, let's just say they win a bunch of fucking pennants and stuff, I won't care. I won't care. It'll be like, it's a different team now. Who cares? It's like the Raiders, right? Didn't the same thing happen with the Oakland Raiders? They moved as well.
Yeah, they moved. So
why is Oakland such a fucking graveyard for sports teams? What's going on in Oakland?
It must be California in general, because San Diego had the same thing. The San Diego Chargers became the Los Angeles Chargers.
That's right, they did too.
So, like San Diego, so now the only team in San Diego is the Padres, and now the only team in Oakland is no one, because it used to be the A's, and now the A's are about to fuck off.
Yeah, so they at one point Oakland had the Raiders, who were like a national huge team. They were like the rival to the Cowboys at one point, weren't they? Greeno, the Oakland.
Yeah,
Raiders?
the old school. Back
in
Raiders,
the day. Yeah.
You're talking 70s, I think, off the top of my head.
So now, what does Oakland have now? Is just crack pipes, and carjackings, and that's it.
Well, that's still San Fran, I think.
That's just
Nice, Gary.
and the homeless.
Good
Greeno.
pass.
Don't forget the homeless.
Don't forget the homeless. Like, don't worry, San Fran's got some amazing bits. They got some fucking terrible bits as well.
Yeah. The terrible
but that
bits are
brings
right
us-
outside the rich bits too, which is
They're
ironic.
right outside the
isn't it?
rich bits. I know. I'm on the bus. I did the tour bus around San
I
Fran.
like stories about pinatas.
So you hop on, and we stayed in a nice area. And they're like, oh, here's the tour bus. And that's how you get around a lot of these massive places in America. Like, you hop on this, it's particularly a tour bus, and they drop you off at certain venues, and it's all good. So we're in LA, and they drop you off like every fucking 10 minutes there's a stop. Here's the Grauman's Chinese Theatre. Here's Beverly Hills. Here's where they film White Man Can't Jump, blah, blah, blah. When we got to San Fran, it was like, here's this bit, here's the wharf, here's this, blah, blah, blah. And then we're on the bus for like fucking 30 minutes. And we're like, why aren't we stopping? They're like, we can't stop here. Look out the left window. And there's people fucking shitting in the street. And you're like, okay, yeah. I don't want to get dropped off
I
here.
love the fact that the tour bus went down that road in the first place, Greeno.
Well, they
That's
had
incredible.
to get to the next good bit. So,
Oh, fantastic! Don't
made me
look at.
laugh.
That's the
That was
first
like-
time in history on a tour you've been instructed to strictly do not look out the window on this part of
yeah,
the
they're
tour.
just like, we don't stop for the next 20 minutes. Like, strap in. So I was like, and then I was looking out. I'm like, I understand why we're not stopping here. Cool, just get us to the next good bit. We'll be all right.
Well, speaking of garbage, Greeno, Anthony Bass tweeted this out. The flight attendant at United, I love the fact that he tagged in the fucking airlines with 1.1 million followers, because he was doing the outrage thing too.
Yeah.
The flight attendant at United just made my 22-week pregnant wife. 22 weeks is only halfway. She's all right.
Nice, Gary.
The lady boogie, mate, the lady boogie was still climbing on the roof and putting fucking tiles in the roof at 22 weeks pregnant. She was fine. Jacking up cars, changing tires. She's right.
Lady Boogs is running half marathons at 22 weeks.
That's it. She was fighting in Iraq, Greeno, 22 weeks pregnant. The flight attendant at United just made my 22-week pregnant wife traveling with a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old get on her hands and knees to pick up the popcorn mess, quote, made by my youngest daughter, Greeno.
Nice, Gary.
And then he writes, are you kidding me? Question mark. Now, Greeno, you've been a father a lot longer than I have. I've got to say, am I wrong here? Am I barking up the wrong tree by thinking that if I'm the dad here in this situation, my first reaction would be to be incredibly embarrassed on behalf of my child. And then I'd say, don't worry about it, guys. I got this. And then I'd pick it up and then I'd try to have some kind of conversation, which probably won't work, about why it's not polite to throw food around in a public setting. Now,
100%.
okay,
No,
so
100%.
I'm not wrong?
No,
Okay.
you're wrong. 'Cause, if I was in that particular scenario, my first thing would be, I'd be cleaning it up. And generally what would have happened, I think, because I guarantee what's happened in this scenario is the wife has got that sense of entitlement.
Yeah.
Because firstly,
don't you know who I am? I'm married. I'm not even. You're not even a wag if you're married to a relief pitcher.
A relief pitcher who's got
Nobody
a
cares.
Firstly, there's a sense of entitlement here because the 2-year-old's got its own fucking iPad.
Yeah.
Let's calm down here, eh? She's fucking.
I've got. Before we go, I have to give you a little story time.
I like stories about pinatas.
But at the same time, so there's already a sense of entitlement here. The kid is fucking like, well, you fucking clean it up. The mum is already of this sense of like, oh, you cleaned it up. So I think what would have happened, let's say for argument's sake, if the 22-week pregnant mother had started to go down and clean it up, I guarantee one of the staff would have said, no, we'll take care of it.
Nice.
I think what's happened is she's called over and said, can you come clean this up?
Yeah.
And they've gone, no, we want you to come. Like, we
You
didn't fucking
clean it your fucking self, you lazy
kids
bitch.
fucking threw it everywhere. You fucking clean it up. And I'm the same. Like, if I go to anyone, if I come to your house and my kids create a mess, I don't sit there and go, hey, Damo, fucking, like, you'll clean up my kid's mess, right? No. I'm the first person to, like, oh, sorry, man. Like, I'll clean up the mess.
And at the same time, I'll probably jump up and go, no, man, it's all good. I got this. Don't worry about
because
it.
At least I'm trying to clean it up first.
Yeah.
I feel there's a sense of entitlement here where they're like, fucking let the peasants do it. Like, secondly, those kids got way too much leg room.
We need a kids section and we can cram them in like sardines, Greeno. That's a very good point.
That's my thoughts on it.
I really like this. Someone replied, genuinely curious who should clean up the mess your 2-year-old made. As a parent of 3 kids, as a father, Greeno, as a father. As a parent of 3 kids, I am the one responsible for them. And he replied, the cleaning crew they hire. And to which depressed Jay's fan replied, by the way.
Nice, Gary!
I love this guy.
I love this guy.
Yeah.
Depressed Jays fan replied, the Jays hire you to pitch, and yet you don't do your job either? Question mark.
Nice, Gary!
Nice, Gary, depressed Jays fan.
And Jim Enward also mentioned in our Discord server, Greeno, that there was another reply, something like, so your kid throws garbage like you do as well.
Yeah.
That was also a good one. So a quick little story time.
I like stories about pinatas.
Last week, Greeno, it was the lovely Lady Boogie's birthday, Greeno. So we decided to, on the weekend, you know what? We'll take the lovely Lady Boogs and we'll take the little baby Boogabee bumper baby.
Yeah,
and we'll go out to a nice little local cafe. There's a nice little local cafe here. It's half indoor, half outdoor. They do some, chorizo fucking omelets and all that kind of stuff.
Ooh, always nice, yeah.
Yeah, there's brisket on potatoes for lunch and all that kind of shit. And
good stuff.
Why don't we go down for a little bit of lunch, And so we're young, we're new parents, we're newish parents. Our little one's about 8 months old. So we've got, we didn't get the high chair. We stayed in a pram, and it's like, you know what? The high chair is probably not going to work for her, so we'll keep her in the pram. But we put the pram up to the table, and we said, let's get her some cheese soldiers, cheese toast soldiers, Greeno, to munch on for breakfast while we're having our lunch. Yeah,
it's a winner.
Loves it. So we're doing that. And during our lunch, the Lady Boogs kind of does that move. When the wife does that move and they'll tap you on the arm and then they kind of motion with their eyes like in another part of the room, fucking look at this shit. Check this shit out. Yeah, and she does that to me and she's like, you should see these parents. They've given their kids iPads. And I'm like, yeah, but my initial thought was, well, a lot of parents give their kids iPads,
Yeah.
That's not nothing. And so I didn't think anything of it. I didn't even bother to turn around. We were looking at our kid, and laughing while she was trying to eat her food and just staring into her little eyes and smiling and thinking how beautiful it was. And then when I got up to pay, I walked over, so it was a mother and a father. Not only did the 3 kids at the table have iPads, they all had a set of headphones plugged into the iPads.
Nice, Gary!
It's a fun family morning out, isn't it?
All three kids are sitting there having lunch with their parents, but they're not actually with their parents.
They're looking at whatever's on
with the iPad. And I thought that was wild. And it actually took me back to when I was listening once upon a time, many, many years ago, to that afternoon show on Triple M that used to have Marty Sheargold and Fifi Box Screener. Yeah. And someone called in and said, they were talking about kids being naughty or whatever. And this guy calls in thinking he's a hotshot. And he's like, I just put a TV in the kids' room. And, it's all nice and quiet in the house. That's all you got to do. And Sheargold's response was something like, yeah, that's a great idea. That way you can grow up without ever having to get to know your kids.
Nice, Gary!
100%, mate.
Yeah.
That is fucking nuts. I have a general, my kids have no tablets for that particular reason.
Yep.
The one tablet in our house is only used when there's illness.
A little bit of
and they can't leave their room.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. TV, dinner time, lunchtime in our house is if TV's on, it's always something that the kids don't want to watch because fucking then at least they won't look at the TV.
Yep.
And if we're out, we have that when we go visit my family. My nieces and nephews, they have tablets, right? They're a bit older and that's fine.
Yep.
But what ends up happening is they're playing it,
they're
not socializing.
your kids.
But then my kids sit there and watch the tablets they're playing, and I'm like, you're fucking right next to your cousin. Why don't you have a conversation instead of staring at the fucking screen? It seems stupid.
Yep.
Whereas at least when me and you were young and we were staring at a screen. We were conversing about what was happening.
Well,
you
we
know
had
what I
to
mean?
play on
Like-
the same computer. So one of us would take the joystick with the one button, and the other one would take the keyboard, and then we'd swap at half time the controls.
Yeah. So, and it wasn't like, oh, everyone's got the individual screens and they stare and watch their own shit and don't talk to each other. It's, oh, we're doing something together. We're playing fucking Alex the Kid on Mega Drive together.
Yeah.
And that is the activity we're doing together instead of I'm watching this on YouTube, you're watching that on YouTube, and no one's having a conversation. So yeah, I'm the same. Like,
well, there was a
when we're out-
moment. There was a moment while I was standing at the counter, and like, so their table was right next to the counter, and I had to wait for one of the staff to kind of. There was pretty busy in there, so they were serving tables and stuff. So I had to stand at the counter for a couple of minutes. I didn't mind, like, it's fine, you know, do your job, do your thing, you got to do, you know, and then serve me when you're done.
Yeah.
And so I had a couple of minutes to just observe this family, and what I observed was the mum frantically kind of bouncing around between each child and trying to put the fork in their hand and trying to, you know, fix up the plate and stuff. Yeah. They weren't even paying attention to her. They were looking at their iPad. Yeah. And for the briefest of moments, I made eye contact with the dad, and the dad looked at me like a man who wanted to jump off a fucking building. Wanted to kill himself because he was embarrassed by the whole situation. Because he had like a beard, like a long. He was a skinny guy. He looked like, you know, like a pub rock cover band bass player. You know, so he had like a big long beard and tats down both arms, and he was skinny as a rake. So you knew he was a rocker basically. Yeah. And here he had this, you know, his pretty wife and his few kids, and she's basically got them all trained to just be looking at their iPads. So he has
Keep quiet.
So now he can't even be entertained by the kids because the kids are entertaining themselves. So now he just has to sit there and listen to his wife's shitty fucking stories instead of
Nice, Gary!
He looked like a man who wanted to jump in front of oncoming traffic. Because
I like it.
Fantastic stuff.
That's a nice way to end the show, I think, because we always, whenever we have a couple of weeks off, the show ends up going fucking stupid long.
It really does. 2 hours we're up to here.
Yeah.
So there you go. You got your money's worth tonight.
Definitely got your money's worth tonight. Yeah. Doesn't matter for the delay. It's all good.
Episode 1 of season 46 here on the Starting Block.
Good to go. Don't forget to check out Gooden.life. Still coming
it's
soon.
Going gangbusters, though. A lot of work going off in the background, Greeno, for Gooden.life.
Yeah, a lot of verification going on there. So, you know, blue ticks are plenty.
We're strategizing on how we're going to take down Elon. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And based on today's feedback, don't think it'll be much. We'll be back next week.
Just give everyone an iPad, Greeno. They'll sort themselves out. Entertain yourself. Yeah.
You take care of it. All right. See you guys next week.
Bye.
We'll always be bosom buddies, friends, sisters, and pals. We'll always be bosom buddies. If life should reject you, there's me to protect you.
If I say that your tongue is vicious,
if I call you uncouth,
it's simply that.
Who else but a bosom buddy will sit down and tell you the truth?